with the bare face and a slick tongue, that's what she say. She look good, she a big tease when she bite lip with the wink face. Hella bad when she throwing it back, she bring that my way for the team play. For Pete's sake, I'm above average, I padded my stats. I gotta matter what he say. I'm the 2010 young LeBron James off the backboard, type of bad boy. Hold it down for the task force. If I run his face, then you ask for it. Niggas cross need to laugh more. I keep it 100 on dashboard. The live show needed passport, cause the beat bounced to the cap torn. Feel like I live it and fast forward, but I asked for it. Misfit got a quick lit on a crash course from the tattered garment to the tabloid. Spoke how I live it into existence. Might be ahead of myself, but the bank account did jump up a couple figures. Feel like nobody could fuck with us. I'm a flight risk. I play among the stars in the Hollywood Hill, the space station couldn't even get in touch with it. Praise faith that I stuck with it. Wave. No, I really can't complain. Everything is straight. I've been on the way. With everything I say, turn into the real thing. I tell her run it up, cause you know it ain't a thing. We made it up the slums, words on the page. Everything is straight. I've been on the wave. With everything I'm saying, turn into the real thing. I've been living like I'm famous. Like I don't show my face as I'm jumping on the stage. Like I'm living in a daydream. Thoughts and imagination. She only want me when she fade. She quick to tell me I'm her favorite. She ain't told no lie, she love it when I catch my cadence. She gone off the deep end, pull up every weekend. I hate to let her down, but I'm in a fast life, so they never slowing me down. Heart rate dropping like you know, sleep out. How you switch up, you always help me down. Wonder why I turn into a cold of me now.
Happy fall to everybody that is in the chat, that is listening. Salute to you all, positivity to you all. Amir, how are you doing today? It's great to see you again. How are you and your family doing?
Thank you, Kadek. I'm doing so happy and happy to be here again.
Absolutely. Amir, we have a great topic for this afternoon. The topic is about undocumented workers, undocumented individuals, illegal immigrants. We have had a lot of illegal immigrant talk in this country for the past 6 months. There are governors, one in particular, Governor DeSantis. In my opinion, he's doing the work of the Lord by exposing the liberals for the frauds that they are, particularly by sending about 50 of them to Martha's Vineyard. And all of a sudden, overnight, these liberals, these people who condemn or have condemned the previous president, Trump, about the border, about the wall, condemned him. But as soon as those immigrants arrived in Martha's Vineyard, it wasn't but 48 hours until they got them up out of there. We have had other governors send illegals to other liberal cities, and we see Lori Lightfoot of Chicago, mayor. We see Mayor Eric Adams, New York, and you see how they have reacted, and their reaction has been in kind. A lot of street interviews. One in particular can be seen on the Black Conservative Perspective, a street interview of individuals in New York saying that they are all for illegal immigration, but not just in New York. They don't have enough space. And that's what the individuals in Martha's Vineyard were saying too. Now, for the people who do not know, Martha's Vineyard is in Massachusetts. Martha's Vineyard is a very, very wealthy community. It is a vacation resort for many of America's most affluent individuals. For example, Barack Obama and his family own a mansion there. Now, you would think that Barack Obama would have came out the woodworks and said, yeah, you know what? These immigrants can come and they can stay and reside in my mansion. But no, you don't hear that from them. You hear individuals saying, listen, we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the capacity for 48 individuals from Venezuela. But I'm going to be completely honest with you, Amir. I am against illegal immigration. I think that illegal immigration should be on the top priority list of presidents, governors, and mayors. Individuals should be vigilant to remove these individuals immediately, to deport them immediately. There is a process to get into this country, and illegals make up about 12 million, supposedly 12 million. I assume that it's probably 20 million. But you have millions upon millions of undocumented people in this country. These people bring in crime, they bring in gangs, they bring in so many additional problems to this country that are just not necessary and that we don't have to take. There are procedures to get into this country, and many people have gotten into this country through the proper channels. Many of us are first generation, many of us are second generation, and I am telling you, you will have a lot of people who are first gen, second gen, and they will even admit, listen, you have to go through the proper channels. Um, Texas, Florida, and other border states, Arizona, they have every right to want to deport. And if we are now seeing liberals in Martha's Vineyard or these liberal cities saying, hey, look, we don't want them either, then nobody should give red states backlash at this point. Amir, I also believe that um, there should be a standard for immigration to America as well. Is pretty radical. I believe that the standard should go first, priority. Countries that have official languages as English should be on the top of the priority list. The second should be European countries, particularly Western European countries. And third should be countries of high influence in terms of global geopolitical economic scale. For example, Japan, China, Singapore. I think that you should let the most intelligent individuals come into these countries. When you allow, and I hate to say this, when you allow illegal Mexicans, illegal Venezuelans, illegal Haitians, you will bring in problems because those people come from problem countries. And I know people are going to cam up and they're going to be, they're going to be upset at what I say. And that's totally fine. And that's totally understandable. But the fact of the matter is that we as a country, we should want people from superior countries to come in because these people will be more productive because they're productive in their own homeland and their country is productive. But that's just me though. Guys, the link is dropped early. You can cam up. We're only going to be here for a couple of hours. Please hit that like button. Please support the channel by hitting the super chats. Please share the video and please leave as many comments as possible. You know, super chat questions are prioritized, just to let you know. And if anybody would like to cam up, please give your opinions and your perspectives. All opinions and perspectives are welcome. I am not saying that I am right. I'm pretty sure Amira doesn't think that she's right, but I'm pretty sure that let me say this again. I'm not saying that I'm right, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. This is just a topic of conversation. Amira, what say you? Go ahead.
I love your views on most things, but as I understand what you're saying, but we have to understand that the majority of the country, or at least 50% of the country, does not agree with you,
Yes.
because what other people see is that Americans lack work ethic.
Yes.
Americans lack morality. Americans lack a lot of things that these people who are coming into the country bring. And because of population decline, a lot of people are arguing that having these migrants, they are no longer called illegal immigrants, sir. These are undocumented migrants. So let's use a proper terminology here. These migrants are coming here and they are filling the population gap that, Americans are not producing children. Well, these people are. So
Yes.
I don't know if you want to say like these people are, just because they don't speak the language, the Queen's language, as you call it,
Yes.
that they are a problem here, or they are useless. But when it comes down to work ethic and morale and family values, they're the only ones who bring it.
What is going on, dimethyltryptamine _ Zell? I'm going to call you DMT5-MeO. And if anybody knows what that is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Amir, I would like to address what you said. Amir, I went to school, high school, with individuals, and I'm assuming that they were legally in the country, like they're illegals. But you have a problem with people from South America. A lot of these people are undocumented, and a lot of them come here legally at times, and they do not want to assimilate into the culture. You have individuals that still sound like they came off the boat. I'm talking about first, second, and third generation Dominican republics or Dominican Republicans. I was about to say Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory though, but individuals from Venezuela, etc. They don't assimilate into the culture. Um, they undermine the culture. Uh, they bring their culture here, and it's ironic because they left their culture, but they bring it here for some reason. And I see a lot of that. When the Italians came over here, when the Germans came here, when the Irish came here 100 years ago at Ellis Island, they learned the language and they assimilated into the culture. When Nigerians come here, when Ghanaians come here, within one generation, you can't tell them apart sometimes from an African American that has been here for 100 years. They assimilate. But it's a problem with these people from the South. They are a problem. And if they are here illegally, listen, we have to be diligent to get them out to the point where we're tattling on them and getting them deported. But that's just me, though, Amir. And I don't have respect to call them undocumented workers or undocumented people. I see where you're coming from. Trust me, I do. But I could see if Japanese were coming over here in droves. I could see if people from Singapore were coming over here in droves. People who typically are more intellectual, have higher IQs, and typically do more for the overall society. Um, Landscaping, okay. I mean, let's be honest, that's not the height of civilization. And doing other menial tasks, that is what pretty much undocumented workers do. And comparing that to the work ethic of America, in my opinion, is a little bit offensive, considering the fact that a lot of Americans, born bred Americans, are the pipeline or the bloodline of this country. Many Americans are the truck drivers, the factory workers, the steel workers, the mine working in mines, etc. And it ain't illegal immigrants doing it. It's purebred Americans. But salute to you, Amir. And great damn question. Dimethyltryptamine underscore Zell. What say you, sir? Go ahead, sir.
First off, shout out to Chaotic and Amira. Thank you for letting me on the panel.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has kind of been hitting a little home lately. I'm out here in Houston, and the immigrant population is very large. Um, all kinds of people here, whether illegal or legal.
Yes.
And I'm okay with, legal immigration. I think if you're bringing your best and brightest, you're bringing the best people over here that went through the process. We know they're a hard worker. We're not going to contribute to society. I'm all for it. But I do have a problem with illegal immigration. Um, my own brothers are half Mexican. My half brothers are half Mexican. They're down there from the south in South Texas called the Valley. A very large Hispanic population, a lot of illegals in that population as well. So it's right near the border. Um, so I get that aspect of it. I'm not to where I can't empathize with illegals, running from issues they have in their own country. The problem is, I don't think that's necessarily our problem. Um, I think one of the issues America has is we try to fix everybody else's issues in our own houses and clean. You know, um, I think we really got to look at how we're securing our border, who we're letting over here. There's a mess going down there in South Texas. I mean, I just couldn't imagine if I was a person living on that border and I'm waking up in the middle of the night, I'm hearing rustling going on in my shed or my backyard. And you go put a flashlight back there and there's a family of immigrants that just kind of ran over the border. Like, what are you going to do in that situation? So I think every American needs to take a good hard look. I know it's easy to fall into the propaganda and the tears. You know how we all used to watch the Feed the Children commercials, and we all want to go donate our dollars because we get sad when we see the kids, no food, they're skinny. That's what they're trying to do. They put these immigrants on TV, say, oh, look at these people, we need to help them, we need to do this. And you forget, once these people come in droves, it's going to be your tax dollars that are getting
Yep.
wasted. It's going to be your resources getting wasted. And we just really need to think for
Yeah.
ourselves at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I thank you so much, DMT Zell. I do not have sympathy for those people, for illegals. Um, it is up to you to, in my opinion, remain in your country and try to figure it out, um, instead of running to another country and pretty much um, pigeonholing our resources. Again, you are absolutely right, sir. It is our tax dollars that are paying for these people. When these people come here, they can apply for welfare, they can apply for housing, et cetera, et cetera. Why should I have to pay for them? When, let's be completely honest, would we get the same treatment if we went to Mexico, if we went to Venezuela, if we went to these other countries? Would Americans get the same treatment? Would anybody get the same treatment?
Nah,
And in my opinion, I mean, I've never been to Mexico or Venezuela or any South American country, but I can almost bet we would not get the same treatment if we went down there, you know? And in my opinion, hear me out, we as Americans, we have to, I know we're high off the hog here, you know, but these people are trying to compete with us. I don't want to compete with them. I don't want to compete with them. In fact, if the idea of competition is, if my competitor, if my enemy is drowning, it is my duty to walk over to them and put a hose right in their mouth. See, that, in my opinion, is what America was really about. It was about superiority. And the fact is that look at what's happening in Chicago, not Chicago, excuse me. Look at what's happened in California, how Mexicans have driven out certain groups of people from neighborhoods. These people don't come over here with their arms open. No, they come over here to compete and dominate. That's what the human spirit is. But it seems that Americans have forgotten that. They will bring their culture here. They will refuse to learn the language. I went to school with individuals from South America. They will refuse to learn English. Oh, I need a, I can't, I need, I don't want to pretend like I'm saying their voice, but they will ask for a translator. When I was in school, they used to ask for translators. And these kids were first generation born. I said, yo, why do you need a translator? You are a first gen born American. You are going to learn English, period. This is the superior language in this country because we can't go to Mexico. We can't go to Venezuela or any other South American country, and we can't force you to speak our damn language. We can't force you to say, hey, wait, buddy, why don't you give me an English translator? No. And truth be told, they should behave like that. They should say, absolutely not. It's Spanish here, buddy. So just like it's how it's Spanish in those countries, it should be like this here. When the Italians came here, they learned the language. When the Germans came here, they learned the language. Why is it that you can't learn the language and you come here and you're undocumented? That's the worst part. Why do we have to why do we have to have billboards and signs and paying into infrastructure that caters to their language? Forget them. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get them. Look, forget Martha's Vineyard. Get them out of here completely. I understand what Governor DeSantis was doing. He was trying to prove a point. But see, if I would have been the governor, I would have got them on that bus and said, I'm going to take y'all back to where you came from because you're not supposed to be here. It undermines what people did to get here legally.
Chaotic.
Am I getting too chaotic?
You just a little bit, a little bit leaning on the racism side, a little
I'm
bit
not
of
being
the,
racist.
You were leaning to that xenophobia, they call it. I mean,
there you go, xenophobia.
You didn't say anything that's not true, to be honest.
Thank you, sir.
I think, because I'm going to look at it from this aspect. I'm a descendant of freedmen, right? So being here in Houston, I do get the question a lot. Like, where are you from? What part of Africa are you from? I'm like, no, I'm from here. Thank you. But no, where are your ancestors? My ancestors have been here almost 400 years. My ancestors were here before this country was a country. Both of my great grandmothers are Native Americans.
Yeah.
So my lineage is very deep in this country. So it is really offensive when, because my ancestors fought and died for the right for immigrants to even be over here. That citizen birthright thing is something that African Americans paved the way for, right? And I know there are a lot of legal wherever they came from that their parents knew, hey, if we could just get over to America and we have our child, they'll be American and we'll be good, we'll be in. You know, I get that aspect. I get that aspect as well, and I'm like, okay, I get all that, but if you're an illegal, even if you're here on a green card, you know, and it expired, you're no longer supposed to be over here.
Exactly.
We as Americans need to be getting these people removed.
Thank you.
Well, I want to jump in. Chaotic.
Go ahead.
Just because a person has documentation, does that make them all of a sudden good and worthy? Is that what you're saying?
No, but with respect, you went through the process.
Nope. Chaotic. I want chaotic to answer.
According
Chaotic.
Okay, Amir, I am not an immigration attorney. I am not versed in immigration law, but I do know this. To my proficient knowledge, yes, if you have gone through the process that millions of other people have gone through, then yes, you are a citizen. But if you are here undocumented, and if you are committing crimes and working under the table for certain things and undermining infrastructure, undermining the economy, then yes, that is a problem. Now, again, if you get your paperwork and all that, then fine, you're a citizen here. Yes, I will look at you as a citizen, but until then, no.
Chaotic. How many Americans do not pay taxes? And yet they're still Americans. How many Americans?
Amir, it could be millions of Americans. Amir, it could be millions of Americans doing all types of things. They are American. That's the difference. They have a blood right. They have a birthright. And they have a process right if they've gone through the process. And the fact of the matter is that these people are coming to this country in droves, and we don't have the resources for them. Imagine if 50 million of them came. You see the beauty in these liberals now. They didn't give them but 48 hours to get up out of Martha's Vineyard. We'll give you coffee, tea, cots.
They got real uncomfortable.
But you got to get up out of here in a week and 2 days.
Got real uncomfortable.
Very fast.
But see, the border states, they've always accepted them. Why should the red states always accept illegals? And why should we accept their culture? Stop bringing your culture over here. You left your culture for a specific reason. Stop it. When Japanese come over here, Japanese matriculated into this, they assimilated into this society. They just did. Other groups of people do. They don't undermine their culture, but they don't listen. Ain't no Japanese talking about some first generation born here said, well, my parents came over here and I need a translator because I'm not learning the language. That's not, other people don't do that. People from South America do that all the time, and I can't stand that.
Is it the entitlement? Is it like, oh well, America used to be Mexico, so we're just going to return it back to its roots?
Let me kick you up out of here, Amir. America used to be what?
If you don't have one of these, you suspect. I can't trust you.
Now I want to point out that No Cupcake Zone said now this guy's moving the goalpost. It's committing crimes now that is not. Listen, you are committing a crime if you are an undocumented worker. What? Absolutely. That's the crime in itself. You're undocumented. That's the crime. How about this? Go to Guyana in South America and be undocumented there. See what happens to you. Go ahead, Amir or DMT.
Be right.
No, you're absolutely right. Somebody in the comments, they said, what about the homeless they let live on the roads? I completely agree. We got homeless on our streets all over the place in LA. You go up here in Texas to Austin, they're all over the place there.
DMT.
Yeah, you want us to spend resources on illegal immigrants.
DMT, don't even waste your time with that kind of question. If you're homeless in America, you're a loser. You are, and you're lazy and shiftless. America is the greatest country on the planet. They're literally jobs right now that are outside saying, please come in and sign up to work for us. Please. You have jobs that are literally begging you to come into this, come in there and work now. there's a worker shortage. If you are homeless now and you are not making any money, you're a loser, flat out. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. I didn't want to be chaotic today, Amir. I wanted to be normal, but enough's enough.
You started off the show saying that you were going to be calm.
So forget these homeless people. I don't care. So yes, treat them all the same. If you ask me, what's up, Desto?
What's going on?
Desto, I mean, Desto, you couldn't wear a shirt, something like what? Why, Desto?
Hold on.
Why? Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I work from home, so I'm pretending like I'm wearing a suit under this.
Yeah,
I do too. I got a shirt. I got a collar.
I mean, you couldn't put on like a cardigan real quick. Go ahead, sir. What say you about the situation in Martha's Vineyard, the situation in Chicago, New York with these illegals? Go ahead, sir.
These illegals.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny you say that. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, it's nothing but people crying about who can get the most victim money anyway. Let's be real. It's like, oh, they're taking our jobs. If you can't beat a dude that can't even learn the English, if you can't beat them out for a job, I mean, honestly, really, bruh. Then you're talking about they're bringing their culture, our culture. What is American culture? Because I don't even know what it is, to be honest. I don't even know.
Oh my God! Then you need to travel outside of this country. Then you'll find out.
I've been in other countries, but American culture is about some fake freedom. So if I want to go listen, because there's all this thing, well, that's white. Well, that's black over there. The white bank, the blackity. It's all that. At the end of the day, I can paint my hair orange, or if I had some hair, I can paint it orange. I can listen to white artists and go to a black church and speak Spanish if I want to. It's America. You can do so. So culture is whatever you decide to make it. You can do whatever you want to do. So Japanese person wants to come over here and act Japanese, I guess. What's the problem with that? If they want to speak their language.
I'll tell you the problem with that.
What is American culture?
No, Dustin.
People out of control doing what they want to do.
Dustin, you and I both know, sir, that America, yes, does not have an official language. But let's be honest. The master language or master lingua franca is English. Business is done through English. School in America is done through English. Why should we have to change for people? That is English won. I'm sorry, the Brits won. The English language won. And the fact is that you don't want your kids to learn. Let's be completely honest. You don't want your kids to learn Wolof. You don't want your kids to learn any other language but the language that will be better for them, be better off for them in the future. Come on, Dusto, you know that.
Yeah, that's why I'm learning Spanish. I mean, what are you talking about?
I'm learning.
Okay, chaos is too. Like I said,
but that's just
this America. You learn what you want to learn. You do what you want to do. It's supposed to be this fake land of the free.
Can you, Dusto, go to Mexico?
Why isn't the language called American then?
Oh my God, it is called American.
Okay, so can I ask you a question? Can you go to Venezuela and force them to adopt anything about your culture?
For the right price, yeah. You got the resource.
Oh.
You got the resources, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Am I wrong?
No, go ahead. I've never been to Venezuela. I don't know, but go ahead.
I'm just saying, the right price, yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Have you been out the country?
Yes.
Did they speak English in the tourist areas?
Sir, I've been to English-speaking countries, sir.
Okay, have you been to any places that didn't speak English?
I've only been to one.
Did they find some way to speak English to get your money?
Yes.
My point exactly.
Where did you go, Chaotic?
I do not want to say. I don't want to say.
Was it Tijuana? Did you go to the Donkey Show?
I did not. I would never go to.
I've been to TJ before.
I would never go to Mexico. I'm sorry, no.
Didn't feel comfortable, but
I would
been
never
over there. I've been to TJ.
What are you getting at here, Desto? What say you about Martha's Vineyard and the liberals not wanting them to come into their country?
No, at the end of the day,
stay in the island. I'm sorry.
No, at the end of the day, it's always people telling people what to do, and they have the right to say no. Speak English because I said so. No, yo no quiero hablar español, solo español. See, I can go speak Spanish if I want to.
Thank you, Bob.
All four businesses.
Desto, give me 1 second. Bob says, language is like currency. It's a medium of exchange that everyone understands. Imagine having to carry around all forms of currency in your own country. Common language promotes unity. Hey, check this out real quick. Now, Amir is an Arab, right?
Cool.
Amir, you're Arab, right?
Definitely.
Could me, Dusto, and DMT go to an Arab country and force the Arabs to say, yeah, jerk off, you should have a Wolof translator everywhere I go. You should have a Yoruba translator everywhere I go because I'm African. My language is just as important as yours, and you should assimilate to my culture. Do you think Saudi Arabia would care to even give me a translator or care to make my life easier? Or better yet, if I went to Saudi Arabia and I said, you know what, my wife is going to walk around half-ass naked because that's my culture in America. What would happen in Saudi Arabia, Amir? And I know you're not Saudi Arabian, but what would happen in Saudi Arabia? Because we're all supposed to just love each other and adopt each other's cultures. What would happen, Amir?
I hate everybody.
You would be very free to speak your mind of what you want while you're on the way to some random remote area in the desert where you will be beheaded.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
I thought so. I thought that would happen. So why is it that Dusto, everybody can come to America with their culture, but why is that, Dusto?
So I don't get. Your parents are from Nigeria. Where's your Nigerian culture, and how come you're not speaking American or Nigerian?
Nigeria is not the dominant culture, sir.
I can't understand you. You're not speaking Nigerian, and you're not speaking American.
Oh my God!
I'm literally telling, sir.
Oh my God!
Give England their language back.
Sir, I'm literally telling you what the dominant culture is, and we assimilated. It
ain't one. It's people doing what they want to do. That's American culture. Whatever you want to do. You can be fat, skinny, wear plastic wigs. You can gain weight. You can cuss at you can yell at the president. It's a free for all. And a lot of dust comes with it. Let's be real,
sir.
But then trying to regulate and tell people what culture to do.
Sir, no. America is the.
I thought we was talking about legal immigration.
Sir, America.
That's what I thought too.
Why are you telling them what to do?
Sir, America is the only country like that because you can't go to the crown prince in Saudi Arabia and cuss him out.
So what's your point?
My point is, sir, that America is a unique culture. I hate when people say we don't have a culture here, and we do. And the fact of the matter is that
I don't know what it is.
Football and baseball.
Sir, you just mentioned it. Who
runs baseball since you said that?
You said what?
Who runs baseball since you said football and baseball?
What Americans run baseball? What do you mean?
Try that again. Who runs baseball?
Americans.
If you want to believe that.
You want me to be specific on what kind of Americans? Is that what you want?
I'm acting like we didn't hear that question.
You want me to say white Americans run baseball?
Okay.
That's all.
Oh my God.
I don't know where you're trying to go.
Canadians.
Dusto, I don't know where you're trying to go with this, but Dusto, the fact of the matter is that there is a legal way to get into this beautiful country. I don't care about other countries. I care about this country. And the fact of the matter is that Germans, Italians, Polish, and all groups of Europeans, when they came here through Ellis Island, they came to this country, and within one generation, they assimilated. They didn't continue on their native languages for generations. They didn't come here illegally. And look at their cultures in America. Look at their communities in America, and look at the South American community. It's a difference.
That community, I'm in Florida, and that community is rocking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sir, okay.
That was have a community.
No. That's
and to be honest, illegal immigrants come into an actual community. They build families. They work with each other.
Go ahead.
Blacks and whites in America don't.
So, Dusto, let me ask you a question. If illegal immigrants were these great people, why are they not at the forefront of industry in America? Why aren't they the CEOs, CFOs? Why aren't they at the forefront? In education, why aren't they at the forefront? How come you don't see PhDs who are illegal immigrants, sir?
Because they don't want to pay them student loans.
Now you asking the wrong question.
I don't want a PhD.
What's the question, DMT?
The real question is,
go ahead.
Why the hell are they over here?
That's the big
what we
question.
need to be focused on answering. Why are they here, and why are we allowing them?
God.
That's the question. Why are they here? Why are we allowed?
I don't know. You said it's your country and you got a culture, so you go tell them.
Forget the culture. It's
go regulate
country, right? Forget the culture. That's irrelevant.
Go over there and tell them
any culture,
no
matter, regardless of the culture. If you're in a country illegally and you ain't supposed to be there, it's the right of those people in the country to remove you. Period.
So how are Americans?
If I go over to Saudi Arabia, if I go to Nigeria, if I go to Ghana, if I go to Johannesburg, South Africa, and I outstay my welcome, whether I had a visa card or whatever, I outstayed or I went there illegally, they have a right to take my black ass out of there.
I get it. You got.
Thank you, Marcel, for the $5 super chat. Marcel says it's a spit in the face for those who came here legally. Go ahead.
So you got a problem with people following the law?
Yes.
So I'll tell you what. Why don't you go, because you can't speak to them because they don't understand the language. Why don't you go talk to the Americans who are breaking the law? And
they're Americans. We deal with that.
No, so go ahead and be law enforcement. Go talk to the Americans who are breaking the law, because maybe what it was they're breaking the law so much they came across the country and said, "Hey, that's American culture. That's breaking the law."
That's dope.
No.
That's dope. How many panels on this network alone do we have, and we talk about Americans breaking the law?
So why are you so worried about them over there that you can't?
I do one episode about illegal immigrants or undocumented workers, quote unquote. And now, you don't say that we don't have any smoke for Americans. I always give smoke to Americans.
No, American culture has freedom of troll. That's one of the rights in the new Bill of Rights. Freedom of troll.
What amendment is that?
I think it was written by a guy named Scam Likely, clause of 2021.
Oh my God!
Signed and approved. Let me get him out of here, man.
Chaotic.
I can't take it. Bob, thank you so much for the super chat. Desto, what's up, man? Desto, let me ask you a question, sir. And since you live in Florida and you know all these people, these Floridians, why is it that these people don't assimilate into American culture, sir? Why do they not learn the language, teach it to their kids, etc.? Why is it that there are 3 generations later and the kids still sound like they came off the boat with the accent?
What's wrong with their accents?
I'll tell you what's wrong with their accents, sir.
I don't like the California accent. How come you don't sound like an American?
Sir, a person in California sounds like an American, sir.
It's an American accent.
I'm in Florida now. I'm from Virginia.
Sir.
I'm from Virginia. I'm in Florida. How come you don't sound like you're from Florida?
Sir,
you're talking. My grandfather was Jamaican. He probably sounded Jamaican before he died. There was a reason for it. He sounded very Jamaican. I couldn't understand a word he said.
Oh, man. Go ahead, Dustin. You got the floor, man.
I'm just saying. But he came over. I don't even know if he came legally. I don't care. He was here. He worked in the plant. He produced. He had 12 children. They ate. My dad was one of them. He raised us. We good. I'm all for it.
That's tough.
If he was Hispanic, cool. Then we learned 2 languages.
That's tough.
I want to retire out the country anyway. Now I can learn 2 languages. I live out the country. I mean,
that's
I'm the problem.
That's tough. Would you prioritize immigration if you had the power to do so?
I prioritize 120-pound women to come over on visas.
For
DMT, is there anything you want to say, sir? Go ahead, man.
But there's not a lot of quality. I would have a tax for single men would pay this tax. Single men pay the tax. We're going to bring 120 pounds from other countries up.
We got somebody else in the back. Okay, I'm going to try to do a bigger panel, Amir. Let's see if this could work, okay?
I'm scared.
I'm running for president in 2024. Just so you know.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The Forex kid, what say you about illegal immigrants, sir, and what's going on in the country right now with them? Would you deport their asses?
it's a double-edged sword. I will say this because my parents are Dominican, so they're considered immigrants.
Okay.
So my mom had to do the right process to get to this country. I find it that how is it fair for some to come in and as soon as they touch the land, they already get papers and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but yet other people don't have that privilege.
Yeah.
What Ron DeSantis did, I think, was right. It exposed Democrats. I voted Democrat. I made the error of voting Democrat. Now, since I found you, I'm voting Republican this year.
Thank you.
And
Can
I made an error. You know what I mean? I actually found out that I made an error, and
you miscalculated.
I went based on emotions, and that's pretty much how I went. But to be honest with you, I thank God that I found you, and even though you're hilarious, I'd be laughing at you.
So them feed the children commercials
I gotta ask you a question.
He was crying. He was like, "Babe, let me get my phone so I can send my $10 over there."
Forex kid, I gotta ask you a question, sir.
Go ahead.
Why do a lot of Dominicans, Mexicans, Venezuelans, and other individuals from South America, why do they refuse to assimilate into American culture?
I think, to be honest with you, I think what it is that they come here and they're not oppressed by what we were oppressed back in our country. So you don't have to do those things. You don't have to learn the language. Now, I came here at, my mom pretty much brought me from Puerto Rico here. Yeah. I didn't know the language. So in order to figure out school and to go to school and do what I needed to do, I needed to learn the language.
Yeah.
So I had to force myself. Now, my mom's been here in the States for over 25 years, doesn't know a lick of English.
Yeah.
But that's because she has never forced herself to do so. She was a cleaning lady. She figured, well, this is pretty much my base. I'm never gonna, she didn't strive for more.
Yeah.
So I think, to be honest with you, I wish she would have, because I wouldn't have been a parent when I was 12 years old. Unfortunately, I was my own parent, because sometimes teachers will send notes in English saying that Jose's being bad in school, and I would just say, "Mom, sign here, sign here." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sucked. That part sucked, but
I do got to ask you another question too, real quick.
Go ahead.
Why are Dominicans so good at baseball? Let's be honest. Dominicans.
Chaotic. He said it was an American sport.
That's a good question.
Can I be racist?
It was an American sport.
Can I be racist?
Go ahead,
Amir. I said we run it. I didn't say it was the best.
So I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have a thing. It's like for one of these caps, but for like a gallon. It's called bitilla.
Yeah.
So we'll throw it at people, and you have to hit it with a broomstick.
Yeah.
So imagine if you could hit that little thing, a cap of a bottle.
Yeah.
You can hit a ball.
Absolutely.
That's why we're so good at baseball, and that's really our only way out of the country, to be honest with you.
Good insight. Interesting.
Or you can copy.
Say something real quick, Mary. You wanted to be racist, you said, but
chaotic.
No, go ahead. I mean, I'm open. I don't get.
You asked why are Dominicans so good at baseball?
Are they not?
Theory. Well, they are. They are. They're very good, but most Black people are good at sports.
Well, I was talking about specifically.
But the Dominican people, the majority of them are Black. No, or at least half of the population.
Whether they're black or not,
no, but that plays a huge part in it. Am I right or am I wrong? You can say
you're right.
I
feel I whenever I do like an application, I do Hispanic Black, because I consider myself Black.
Afro Latino.
I dress Black. I have the long beard Black.
You know who's a super hot Dominican? Zoe Zeldana.
Oh my gosh.
Amir. Now I do have to ask another question for the entire panel. How would you have handled the Martha's Vineyard situation if you owned property there? Amir, you go first.
Oh, why would you ask me that?
Go ahead. Let's say you owned a 20-bedroom mansion, which you probably do already, Amir. Go ahead. What would you do?
Chaotic. In my country, we still have workers for free.
So you would have enslaved them. That's what you're saying. Okay. I didn't say that. That's what Amir said. Dimethyltryptamine. What would you have done, sir, if you owned a mansion on Martha's Vineyard and they would have came?
Wow.
Who'd you ask?
I'm talking to you, DMT. Go ahead,
sir.
My
bad. I didn't hear. I was laughing too hard.
Mm-hmm.
If I owned property on Martha's Vineyard, I'd be calling ICE. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh.
I'd be calling whoever I need to call. How fast can we get them on a plane back to where they came from? I mean, obviously, we go through each one, vet them, check. Do you have any sort of paperwork, any type of documentation, any IDs? What do you have on you? And, I'm sure we can make a deal with some of them. I'm sure I can make a deal with a few of them that may have resources. Yeah. They may be able to contribute, add value some way. Yeah. I'd probably strike a deal with them. But the rest, bye.
Dusto, what would you have done, sir, if you owned a mansion on Martha's Vineyard and these illegals were waiting outside your house?
Go play baseball or basketball with them. Practice Spanish. I ain't got no problem with illegals.
Would you have let them stay in your home?
I wouldn't let people who are from here stay in my home. I don't like Americans either. I mean, let me tell you.
Okay. Forex kid.
They're worse.
What would you have done, sir?
I mean, to be honest with you, I would have probably put them to work, not slave them. I would have paid them. I do need my grass cut. I do need, I would have probably made them maids and stuff like that, and talk to my other friends that live in the island, and tell them, hey, you guys need help at your home? I got a few maids, a few guys that will cut the lawn, and I wouldn't deport them because they're already here. What can we do? You know what I mean? They're already here. They already made it this far. So it's like, at the same time, it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword because my mother is an immigrant. So she's not an immigrant anymore. She's a resident. But I would try to help them out. But if some of them act up, I'm calling them boys.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question real quick, Forex kid?
Yeah.
If a mouse got into your home, right? He's there. And you see it scurrying across your floor. It go under the stove while you're cooking one night, under the kitchen table while you're eating. Is your mindset still going to be, the mouse is already here, let's just let it stay here?
But that's the difference. A human is not a mouse, so I can compare the two.
But it's an infestation in your place, right?
It's not an infestation. That would be saying. I mean, I couldn't say that because it's still a human at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I can't compare an animal to a human. But if they just showed up and try to attack my home and try to, I'm taking on my little thing, and I'm gonna handle it.
So what if they were American?
I say that to say this because, in the grand scheme of things, from a human to human level, I get where you're coming from. I probably think the same way too. But then I think about how
you really don't know what you'll do until you face the reality.
Right. But then I think about like government.
And it all sounds good, but how would you really deal with it if you have 20 people knocking on your door saying, I need help? What's the Christian way to do? If we're conservatives, isn't that to feed them at least?
Slavery is in the Bible.
What?
I honestly think people would be more nicer theoretically as opposed to how they would be if it actually was on their doorstep. I think if it was actually on their doorstep, people would be a lot more fearful and they'd be a lot more willing to call the authorities or whatever they need to do to remove these people.
Remember, I speak the language, so you probably would be more at fear. I'll be more at peace.
Why?
Because you got to remember, Dominicans once migrated to Venezuela. So I will have that in the back of my head. You see what I'm saying?
You would have that in the back of your head.
On this panel, because I have a different perspective. If you look back in history, there was a time where Dominicans ran to Venezuela because Venezuela was one of the richest countries in pretty much in the world when it came to oil. So you wash my hand, I wash your hand.
I'm going to say this. I grew up in a neighborhood where I know cousins who murdered their own cousins. Do you think when that cousin walked through that other cousin's neighborhood that he's not supposed to be at, that it came across his mind that their parents are siblings? Or did it come across his mind that this dude is from the other side, I gotta kill him?
But you're going to two different extremes. One is the
No, it's the same. Because if you think about it, it's the human level perspective. You said when these people approach your home illegally, they have your house surrounded. Your first mindset will be like, think back to Venezuela. Okay, these are kind of my people, so I got to try to empathize with them and help, as opposed to the fear of there are strange people here that can do anything to me that I don't know who they are.
Remember, they just came off a plane, right?
Scam likely what you.
I mean, they just came off a plane. They shouldn't be armed, right? Shouldn't be. If they are, I mean, I'll deal with it when I see it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword, man. Because I'm a Latino, man, and at the end of the day, you know.
I want to say something.
You know.
Go ahead, Amir.
So the reason why I said to enslave them, and I know people like cringe when I say that. The reason I said enslave them is because why are people not jumping the border to get into Saudi Arabia? Like, Saudi Arabia is rich. There's plenty of work to do, but people aren't jumping the borders to get in there because they know they would be enslaved and worked.
Amir,
over here, if you take away one minute, guys, if you take away the incentive and you take away the idea that you're going to come here, you're going to get free work, you're going to be able to do this and do that, it takes away that incentive and they get scared to come. So that's why I said.
Amir, I'll tell you why people aren't running in droves to get to Saudi Arabia. Though Saudi Arabia is a wealthy country, maybe even beautiful. I have a couple of friends who live in is it Riyadh? Oh man,
Riyadh.
Yeah. There's a standard of culture, and you have to abide by their culture. That's it. That's the difference. And I feel like a lot of people come to America because it's a free for all here.
That's exactly.
And that's what it
is. Is there propaganda that American people share? The land of the free.
Yeah, it's a free for all here.
So it kind of shoot your own self in the foot.
You got a point. I agree with that.
Go ahead, Dusto.
So let's just be real. Enough.
Hey, let me turn your mic up, Dusto. I can barely hear you, man. Hold on.
Oh, really?
So we done with the trolling, Dusto? We gonna be serious now?
All right, go ahead, Dusto. Hey, Dusto, turn your mic up, sir. And is it Dusto? Now here goes the thing, Dusto. For a man who's 6'1", sir, why are you sitting so low?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna tell him. Like,
he ain't got no shirt on.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead, Dusto. Please go ahead.
Massaging his biceps with.
Go ahead, sir. You got it. Go ahead.
But no,
go ahead, Dusto. You got the floor.
Nah, okay. Enough cap. Let's be real. You're saying, oh my God, 15 illegal immigrants are outside my house. I don't know what to do. What if 15 Americans were outside your house?
I'm getting my AR-15.
I'll call the police on them niggas.
That's point is that
I act the same way I act for Americans with illegals. Because I don't know
I don't think you would, man. If there's 15 people asking you for help, come on, bro. You
and you're talking about Americans who live in handout culture.
For help, they didn't just show up.
Now, can I answer Dusto real quick? Now, Dusto, I will admit, if it was 15 Jews,
don't do it. No.
If it was,
I know you're going to say the black ones are criminals and the white ones are gods. I already know.
You can't do that.
15 Jews asking for help, I would help, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I know down the line that I will be reimbursed somehow. That's just their culture. I'm sorry, that's their culture.
Here goes this guy.
So you only have
white man
payment involved.
No. There
got to be some type of ROI.
It's not about the white man. It's about exactly DMT, a return on investment. I know that somewhere down the line, these Jews are connected. They can get me in a position of something, sir. So yes.
But the problem is you can't even identify 15 as black people. They had to automatically be 15 niggas.
Again, sir. Again, I stand by what I just said. If it's 15 Jews somewhere down the line,
they can't be 15 black people.
Wait, you wouldn't help 15 black people?
I'll tell you. No, here's the deal. I don't care. I'll tell you the truth.
Go ahead.
I'm not helping anybody. Just like Amir said, which I don't agree with, but she at least stood what she said. Man. I'm going to enslave them. At least she stood on what she said.
Talking
I'll
about
tell you,
if
I don't feel comfortable or don't feel like dealing with them, I ain't helping them. If I do, I might.
RJ called me a traitor. I'm not a traitor.
One, 2, or 3, I'd probably help.
I got one more point.
I'd drive you somewhere. You pulling up with 20, 15?
Now, here's my point about the culture thing. How come you come over to the country and you won't involve our culture? The culture's a mess. We already know that.
Sir, this culture is not a mess, sir.
Go ahead. But here's the deal. I guess there's some kind of hierarchy.
Joe Biden.
There's some kind of standard that Americans must live by. Of course, they speak the language. Then they have to have some kind of morals and values and some kind of other stuff. So if we're going to start deporting and enslaving or whatever, let's make it a standard. So, banging your man's wife, you should get deported.
Sir, what does that have to do with illegal immigration, sir?
No, I'm saying.
No offense.
That means you got to deport half the Americans.
Dusto. Hold on for a second. Dusto.
What's the standard?
Dusto.
Because they meet the standard more than Americans do.
Dusto. Hold on for a second. Take it easy. What does that have to do with illegal immigration, sir? What are you talking about?
I thought he was.
So they can break illegal immigration, but Americans break all the other laws.
Sir, it's
speeding, trafficking, drugs.
Who cares?
Robbing, tax evasion. Those are cool.
Americans go to prison when they break laws, sir. What are you talking about?
ICE doesn't have jails.
Illegals come over here and get benefits, bro. What are we talking about?
So, like I said, a battle of the handouts.
Not all.
A battle of the
handouts. Did you guys know something?
It's never all. But I'm saying.
Did you guys know something?
There's a good portion.
There's 3 states that have recently declared a state of emergency. That is Illinois, New York, and I believe Washington, D.C., which is not technically a state, but Washington, D.C. is also in a state of emergency. A lot of people don't know this because the Democrats are keeping this very quiet. The reason for the state of emergency is because there has been an influx of illegals and people getting on the welfare system, and the welfare system is not able to handle this. So these 3 states are in this because, as you guys know, New York is one of the states that all of these illegals were sent over to. And all of these people get there and have their hand out for Section 8, food, welfare, foods, medical, dental care, everything. So these states are not able to handle this. So what do we do?
I know what you do.
Justin, let me ask you a question.
You know what would fix all these people staying in their country?
What?
If Jeff Bezos would just donate 5% of all his billions.
Oh my God.
Hold
There we go.
Hold on.
There we go. I think we need to start deporting Americans.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
All right. If Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett would just help the whole world and say, you know what, let's feed all these people, let's help them out in their country, and that's it. And we won't even have to deal with immigration.
So have a man that worked his ass off 90 hours a week.
Now,
hand out some money.
Now, Forex kid, hold on for 1 second. Okay, I'm willing to let's go down this rabbit hole. Okay.
Yeah, DMT. That ain't gonna work. I got the ping pong paddle for you.
Forex kid. Let's take a country like El Salvador. I did a story about Bukele. I think Bukele is a great president.
Yeah,
he's our age. Let's take a country like El Salvador. How much money per year would it take to manage their infrastructure and develop infrastructure? And
let's say you don't even have to invest into the country.
No, I'm just saying how much money would you're saying give these people money and they could just be in El Salvador. But how much money per year would you have to do? I mean, you have to give them money every year. Like, how would they make money? How would they keep the infrastructure going?
I don't know I won't say I know the details of it.
Yeah.
But I would just say maybe that's an idea that we could try. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Since immigrants are such a problem right now, what are we going to do about it? It takes something drastic.
Okay, Forex kid, hold on for a second. So you've named yourself Forex kid because you deal with money, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just give me some rope here. let's say you give individuals in El Salvador, I don't know,
$200 a month.
okay, $200 a month, right? Now, mind you, some El Salvadorians don't make that in a year. I would guess. I don't know.
They don't make it in a month. Yeah.
Okay, they don't make it in a month. I don't know the currency. Okay, so if you give them $200 a month, wouldn't that incentivize them not to work in El Salvador if you're giving them money? And so if they're not working, then that means that other people won't work to produce goods.
But let's say, for example, we could open. Let's say we open manufacturing companies where they, instead of them getting stuff from China, instead of us getting stuff from China, we could get it from El Salvador.
Okay, I'm rocking with you.
Chaotic, really, bro?
Hold on, Desto. Hold on for a second, Desto, because I'm rocking with Forex here because I think this is a good idea, but we got to think about the logistics.
No, the logistics of it, I don't know because I'm not in that market. You know what I mean?
Okay, DMT, you look like you have a higher IQ than all of us on the panel. How would this work if you were to implement this in El Salvador?
First of all, I gotta make sure I understand what you just said. You agree with? Do you agree with the premise that if Bezos, guys like Elon, those billionaires, hand over a portion of their resources to these countries, that they'd be better off? Do you agree with that?
I got a solution.
No. Let them finish.
I wanted to ask you, like, just really quick before I answer your question. Is that what you said you agree with as far as what Forex laid out?
Hell no.
Okay. What I would do is, let's just say we go with that idea. Let's have all these billionaires get together and donate maybe 5 to 10% of their wealth to these poor, underachieving countries to help them build infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Let's say they agreed to do $1 billion a year for 5 years, right? I think that would be sustainable, right?
Yeah, just a push start. I don't mean to like sustain for life.
But now, DMT, now this is a problem here.
I wasn't done, but go ahead.
Wouldn't that essentially make, we're going to use El Salvador. Now, Bukele is totally against loans, etc. I did a story on him. But wouldn't that make his country in debt if you have all these billionaires in America giving money? Technically, you've indebted that country. Now, mind you, it may be a donation, but if Bezos, Elon Musk are giving billions of dollars a year, and let's say they do it for 50 years, technically you would have indebted that country by $50 billion. If
you're correct. You definitely would have indebted yourself. And that's what I was going to get to, because nothing in this world is free.
Yeah.
And African countries are trying to take this same model, let's let these more thriving countries donate us some money or give us a loan and we'll pay on the interest over the years. And they end up indebted, basically enslaved to these more superior countries. I don't think that's a model that's sustainable. That's why I say I don't think billionaires handing out money is going to solve the problem, even if it is a donation. Right?
Will did the
They're going to expect something in return. Whether that's your vote, they're going to need you to put a puppet in office, or they're going to want to have some sort of control over what's going on in your country. Nothing is free. So again, that model, I just don't agree with it. It's always going to end with somebody being subservient of another, and I just don't.
But y'all are proving my point.
Let me read, guys. Let me read the super chat real quick. Hold on for 1 second. Dub Will, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, guys. Again, thank you so much for all the super chats, guys. Dub Will says El Salvador has 6.5 million people. You multiply that by $200 per month. That's $1.3 billion per month. F out of here. Now, here goes the thing. We're going to use El Salvador as an example again, right? Now, I don't know if you guys know, but rubber is a major, it's not a major, but it's an export of El Salvador. Now, hear me out. We saw what happened in America when they gave us poor Americans $2,000 during COVID. A lot of people quit their job. They said, shoot, I got $2,000. I'm going to quit. Yep. Now, just give me some rope here, Amir, Dusto, DMT, Forex. If you give $200 a month to a third world country with people who's going to
enforce
rubber fields and any other?
I get your point.
American dollars. Make sure
American dollars. Like,
American dollars.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I lived in El Salvador and I was working extracting rubber at some company, I wouldn't come back to work.
For what?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't work.
Hey, chaotic. I want to bring this back to something because Amir was talking about it. I mean, because we're so worried about the American culture, because American culture is right on point and on task, and then these illegals are coming and disrupting everything. So what she said was Illinois, DC, and I forgot the other state are under emergency. New York. It's a state of emergency because I guess there wasn't a system. I don't know where this came from, where they have this culture where people get on these systems and then they don't work. That's like a culture. Maybe it's Canada. It's not America, is it? Where that's what people do, and then they get on the system, they reproduce, and they keep making people sit there on the system, juicing up money and sticking it with their hands out.
That's why we know it don't work.
And it's the problem. The illegals are taking the money. It's an emergency.
Americans are America's problem. These people are not our problem. This is why we're being overwhelmed.
Why not join in on it? I'm just saying they're not working.
Does it make the problem worse?
But now let me ask
Americans are already making it worse.
But are we all truly Americans?
How did it now become?
If you were on an elevator with a max capacity, would you allow one more person on the elevator just so the elevator can collapse?
I would first ask, why is it max capacity? I don't know. Maybe because Americans are 300 pounds. I don't know. That's an America problem. Start with fixing the problem before saying one illegal got on the elevator and it's an illegals problem that the elevator collapsed. When there's women 250 and dudes 300 pounds on the elevator, knowing the capacity.
I'm saying let's figure out why what we got on the elevator right now is too much weight before we even think about letting you on. That's what I'm saying.
Where were the people going anyway? Were they going anywhere anyway? Americans? No. To the buffet.
There could be 2 Americans on there that are 300 pounds.
You ain't lying.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. One of my biggest problems with illegals is this, and it ain't just South Americans. It's Haitians. It's other groups too. They come to this country a lot of times, and not only are they illegal, they have the nerve to fly their flag on this land. I can't stand that. Tell me I'm lying, Dusto.
Hey, rock that flag. That flag.
You can't go to their country and do that, and the natives will respect you.
As a
So
respect,
don't do it.
fly the American flag first, and then you're,
Is it a requirement?
Why are you flying your flag at all?
After 2020.
So why do we flag? Like, I'm a Dolphins fan. Why do I put my Dolphins flag in front of my house? It's the same crap.
No, but look, I think a bigger problem is, especially like the children of these immigrant kids, like my generation, 20s and 30s, the entitlement is strong. They can even now disrespect our flag in this country when their parents literally almost killed themselves to get over here. But now that they're here, they got the birthright citizenship and they've grown up with all the propaganda.
Yeah, but that's because their parents
don't make it step on the country.
Why are you blaming illegals for American problems?
I got issues with America, but I wouldn't rather be nowhere else. I'll say that.
Hey guys, hold on for 1 second. I think we got somebody else in the back. I'm gonna drop somebody off real quick.
You can drop me off if you need to.
All right, Dusto, stay in the back.
Sounds like American problems to me.
Dusto, just stay in the back, okay? Yep, stay in the back, okay, Dusto? We got Renee. Renee, if possible, could you cam up? If possible. What's up, Renee? How you doing?
Hey, I can at the moment. I'm not going to stay long. I just had a couple things I did.
Are you Dominican, Renee?
No, I'm not.
Okay, go ahead.
I am ADOS.
There you go.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
I'm a descendant of free African men and women who were enslaved on this land.
Okay, let's get to the immigration. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's get to immigration. So I just kind of came in on the argument, but what I wanted to say is that I think the focus is being put in the wrong places. A lot of people are blaming the immigrants, but the reality of the situation is immigrants would not come here if they knew they couldn't make money. They would not come here if they knew they could not get jobs. So why isn't there more focus being put on these companies and corporations that are hiring these people under the table? They're having these migrant workers and other people that they know are undocumented, that they know are here illegally, but they know they don't. Because see, if they had, Americans as part of their workforce, and they know there's certain things they have to do. They have to give a little bit more livable wage. They have to offer them some, for full-time people, some types of benefits, 401k, different things like that. And so companies can increase their profits by just making sure that they have a substantial number of undocumented people working for them. Like when you look in terms of the fruit that we have at stores, so much of that comes from the labor of immigrants. Exactly. So it's like people want to get mad at the immigrants, but the immigrants are coming here trying to get money. They come in here trying to see what they can get. And if they can't get it, they wouldn't be here. Do you think they would be running here, risking their life, their children's life, sitting up here in the back of trucks and vans for days at a time to get here if they knew they couldn't get here and make money?
Right. America's the land of
you got a valid point there.
But see, a lot of people focus on the wrong part of it. So I don't support any of the political stuff. I don't support any political party, period.
Can I ask you a question, Renee? How come Obama and Michelle haven't opened up their house at Martha's Vineyard for these?
But before she answers that, I do want to say one thing. I want to answer to her point about the fruit. You do know, Renee, even if the illegals weren't here, that fruit would still be picked by Americans.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter if they're here or not. They're taking.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Amira.
Yes, but the point I was trying to make, yeah, absolutely. But see, that would cost the corporations more money. They want to increase profits, right? They want to make as much money as they can without having as little overhead as possible. So if those illegal immigrants weren't here doing those jobs, they would have to be more competitive with their wages and benefits when it came to having American workers. So
woulda, coulda, shoulda, but that doesn't mean that we need to welcome illegals just because there's fruit that needs to be picked. Go ahead.
No. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Renee, you finish, please. Go ahead.
No. I definitely am not making an argument to welcome immigrants at all. I don't support immigrants. I support Black people. I absolutely racist. Not. They are some of the most racist people you can find. I'm just saying in terms of if you really want to address the issue, you don't address who suffers from the issue. You address who benefits from the issue. So the people who are really...
We suffer.
Yeah, but who's benefiting from them being here?
They are
politicians.
To some degree, they are, yes. But who's the biggest beneficiary? Because let's be clear, when most of them come here, they're still poor, right? They still poor. They still live in a bunch to a house, right? They're not in mansions. They're not driving the latest, this, that, and the other foreign car. No, they still poor in America. They just not poor in Mexico or wherever anymore, but they're still poor in America. So who is the biggest beneficiary?
You know what I think is really hiring immigrants? I don't even think it's major.
I don't think it's major corporations either.
It's small business. Because I'll tell you, the last company I worked for, a small business, we went to Home Depot, because out here in Texas, they said, you can find illegals there working out there doing the carts. They went and hired 5 illegals because we were short on workers, and they threw them in the warehouse. They were from Colombia, Mexico. Just threw them in the warehouse. I don't think major corporations are hiring illegal immigrants at a high rate. Number one, they have bylaws and things they got to go by that would definitely affect their bottom line if they were to get caught. They can't afford to be hiring illegal immigrants.
DMC, let's be honest. Goldman Sachs ain't hiring illegal immigrants.
They're not doing it. They can't afford that.
No. Renee, can I ask you a question? How come the Obamas have not opened up their home at Martha's Vineyard for illegal immigrants?
I'm gonna be honest. I think that's kind of a disingenuous.
You went on.
He was questioned.
Why is that?
There's no way that Barack Obama, because that's so unrealistic. There's no way that Barack Obama could accommodate all the illegal immigrants in this country. Furthermore,
it was only 48. It was only 48 bought to Martha's Vineyard. I'm just saying for that particular group, how come he didn't say, "Hey, open up the door for him"?
But he didn't bring them there.
No, but
the people that brought them there need to house them.
Yeah, but liberals love illegal immigrants so much. I'm just trying to figure out how come they didn't open their doors for them.
Well, first of all, I'm not here to speak for Barack Obama. Like I said, I don't support any political party.
Right,
however, conservatives who claim to care about life and all that, they sat here and they used those people as a political stunt. Why didn't the Republicans who brought them there, why didn't they house them?
Can I ask you another question?
They've been housing them. That's the problem.
Okay, then. So what's the question about asking Barack Obama to do it?
It was just a hypothetical question. Hold on. Let me read Hey, hold on. Let me read the super chat. Marcel with the $5 super chat says,
I want to address this too.
These corporations could be using that as a scare tactic because do they list how many illegals they employ? I got to ask one question. Hey, DMT, hold your question real quick.
This relates to the super chat. Go ahead.
Renee, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you know what Lingala is?
No, I don't.
Do you know what Wolof is?
I know.
Wolof is a language in Senegal.
Okay.
And Lingala is a main Congolese language. Do you think that any of those South American countries would ever accommodate for Congolese to say, you know what, we want to bring our language over here. We want you guys to adjust to us. Do you think that they would do that in those countries?
Yes, I do. Let me tell you why. If their economy was helped by those people that speak those languages, if their economy was helped, they would start instituting where that language, you would see that language around.
Would you help Trump build the wall if you could?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I ain't helping him build no damn wall.
Okay, DMT, you want to answer the super chat?
Yeah, because he says these corporations could be used as a scare tactic because they list how many illegals they employ. This is what I need people to understand with this.
Go ahead, sir.
Saying the corporations are employing illegal immigrants. This is how it would work in actuality, right? So corporations have locations all around the country. Let's say Home Depot. They have locations all around the country. They have infrastructure and a hierarchy of managers who manage these regions and then these stores individually. Do you honestly think that district managers in their region are telling their managers at these stores to hire illegals?
Never.
What's actually happening is the manager may be approached by some illegals, or they have employees who have illegal family members and say, hey, my cousin or my uncle or my dad, they're here illegally, need a job. Can you maybe throw them some money under the table and they won't say anything, but they just really need some work right now. And that manager of that store is going to say, okay, I'll help them out. I can allocate this amount of money to the side, pay him in cash, and we'll get him working because he wants to do a good deed. If you think that if a district manager was to find out that was happening in his region and he would not fire those managers, you are an imbecile. You're an imbecile because first of all, that's going to compromise him as a district manager. He's not going to allow himself to be compromised. So anybody that's compromising him is going to be removed. And I think when people think of this stuff, they think in absolutes and they don't really think of how a process and workflow works and how things go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. Step 1 is there's a manager at a store. Step 2 is he has a boss. Step 3 is that guy has a boss.
Go ahead,
and if it was to get up to that third boss, that the guy on the bottom is hiring illegal immigrants, both of those 1 and 2 steps would be fired.
What if they look the other way?
Am I going to say it doesn't happen if they look the other way? Of course it probably happens. But
it does happen, man. Just look at all the rules.
All of these corporations are hiring illegal immigrants. No, it's a slip through the cracks type of deal. It's not something that they're...
Let me ask you a question.
I don't think people are putting budgets to the side to hire illegal immigrants. It just doesn't work like
that. No, they're not. They're not. But let me ask you a question. You own a home, right?
No, I rent.
Okay. So let's say you own a home. Who you think gets up in that roof and puts all those shingles on top of your roof?
Why illegal?
You think it's blacks? You think it's Latinos with green card and all that? No.
It's probably illegals.
It 100% is illegal.
And again, that's why I said it's primarily small businesses.
No, I'm talking about there's big companies out here in Florida that all you see is Mexican illegals, man.
Okay, when you say big company, what do you mean by big company?
Like,
are we talking Fortune 500? Or are we talking about this company's been around 30, 40 years?
30, 40 year company, maybe 2,000, 3,000 employees. That's not a big company for you?
It is big. I'm talking about Fortune 500, large companies that employ.
No, but that's not what moves America. It's the small companies that move America, right?
That's why I said small business. So
that's what I'm saying. So it's like,
and like chaotic even laid out. He said a company like Goldman Sachs isn't going to hire illegals. I agree. A company like
they're a Fortune 500 company.
That's what I'm saying. Companies like that aren't compromising themselves to hire illegals. It's coming from the small businesses. And again, I think even those small businesses, their management isn't necessarily allocating resources to hire illegals. I think it's more so, hey, we've had this going on at our location. We've been hiring illegals for maybe a couple of years. Maybe a new guy takes over, and he's just now hearing about it. We've kept it under the water this long, but this is what's going on. And they go from there. But I don't think it's something that's consistently happening.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, DMC?
Go ahead, Amir.
Hi. Really quickly, guys, there is an echo. So whoever's not speaking, I would prefer if you muted your mic, because there is an echo and it makes it hard for the audience to hear you. Also, there is a super chat from Kobe Jordan. Thank you, Kobe Jordan. He sent a $9 super chat. He says, I helped a cleaning company on contract for work at IKEA. 70% of the cleaners were Spanish immigrants without green cards. Without green cards. They haven't been paid in 4 weeks and they're not complaining. Thank you.
Kobe Jordan said that. And yeah, again, Kobe, you're saying the same thing I'm saying. Like, small business, okay, you said for IKEA, they haven't been paid in 4 weeks and they ain't complaining. They can't complain. They're illegal. Like, what do you expect them to do? They're not supposed to be here. One phone call and they're gone. That's why they do it. That's why a company would take the risk of doing that, because they know they have all the leverage in the situation.
But see, this is how IKEA gets away. They will subcontract a cleaning company to clean for them. Mm-hmm. So they're like, hey, I don't know.
They got nothing to do with us, right?
We hire Mike from JCS or JTM a cleaning company, so I don't know who he hired. That's not
exactly.
On that, I agree. I definitely agree. Now, company would definitely contract to a company that hires illegals just to save money. I know they would, for sure.
Plausible deniability. I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing, is that it's the companies and corporations that benefit. And in terms of the politicians benefit, because who pays the politicians? The corporations do, in terms of them running their campaigns, in terms of backing them, in terms of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing. So in terms of that, these corporations are making money off of these illegal immigrants. So the politicians gonna play these little games about it. And again, the idea of like building a wall, that is so dumb. And in my opinion, it's a waste of resources. Because again, if you put sanctions on the companies and corporations, and I mean real sanctions, I mean real punishment, real consequences for having any illegal workers, you would see a shift in the dynamic. You will see things switch up, and you wouldn't have to do as much to try to build a wall, because they know, hey, if I get over there, it ain't gonna be a lot of us that can work. It ain't gonna be a lot of us that can make money, because America's really strict on companies who hire illegals.
I could agree with that to some point.
Can someone read the super chat, please?
She already did. America.
Oh, she already did? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, guys.
I mean, to be honest with you guys, let's be honest. Like, because that's the thing. We could be honest. Is any of us out of the 5 people in this panel, if they told us, hey, we're going to give you $10 to go pick potatoes and tomatoes, are y'all going to go pick them?
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody has to do it.
I'm not, sir.
You're lying.
Somebody has to do it.
I'm not, sir.
Wait, right now?
You're lying to me, CT.
Sir.
Come on, you used to be a teacher, probation officer.
Okay.
You ain't gonna go work for $10 an hour, bro.
Sir, believe it or
I know
not,
people who will. I'll refer.
Believe it or not, if I had to,
there are people who will.
I would. I believe it. I would.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
If I had an
option, you would not do it, bro.
If you had the option?
If I had an option of potatoes or working in an office, I would probably work in an office. I ain't gonna lie.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm an automation consultant, bro. I'm not doing
the potatoes for $10 an hour. I would, sir. But I see what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It depends on your situation, your economical situation.
But I was gonna say.
But let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Chaotic.
Go ahead, sir.
What is the difference, right? I've been watching you for a little bit. What is your difference of an immigrant coming to this country and living 10 in a house to help themselves grow and possibly buy land and possibly buy a strip mall versus what you say about Chinese and other people that come to this country and do the exact same thing? Now, can you explain that to me?
No, again, if they were illegal Chinese doing it, I would have a problem with it. They were illegal Africans, I would have a problem with it. The whole idea is to.
So your only problem is that they don't have a green card.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not here legally. That's the only problem. Yes, they're not documented. Yeah. Other than that,
do you know that some illegal people do pay taxes?
I didn't know that. Now,
you could go on the IRS website and take out an IEN number, right? And just register that IEN number, and you.
Oh, you mean the EIN number?
Oh, EIN. Sorry.
Yeah, EIN number. As a business, okay. So I didn't know that, but here goes the thing. The only thing, and I said this earlier, I would prefer if it were 10 Chinese immigrants than 10 Latin American immigrants. That's just me, though.
Why is that?
Because they come from a culture of people who, let me just look at their society, look at their achievements, look at their focus, look at their ethnic group.
I have a more sinister reason for it.
Right. So, in Forest Kid, I rock with you, but I said this earlier. I said that if it was up to me, priority would come to first the Western European countries if they wanted to immigrate over here.
But isn't that your own opinion because you think they're better?
That's just my opinion. I'm not saying that they're better. I just feel like Western Europeans would assimilate into a westernized country better than most people would. And again, I would say that, I would prefer Japanese or Chinese immigrants over other groups of people because these people they have higher IQs. They're more peaceful. No, they don't. No, guys, give me a second. We all have a chance. In my opinion, and from what I have researched and seen, these groups of people have higher IQs. Look at their country, look at their cities, look at their achievements, look at their ethics, look at their morals, look how hard they work. They don't really cause any problems where they go, other groups of people do. There are no Chinese cartels. Let's be honest. There are no Chinese gangs in America running amok. There aren't. Let's be honest. And there's a lot of Chinese.
Have you ever been to Chinatown?
Sir. You and I, sir. You and I both know, sir, that the triads are not terrorizing their own people on the same scale as other groups of people are. You know that, sir. They don't harm their civilian class the way that other groups of people do.
I think we all thought triad.
Let's be honest, sir. You ain't never ran into no triad, sir. Let's be honest.
Can I say something to that? I'm sorry. I think that is just so ridiculous, and that's definitely white supremacist rhetoric. This idea, first of all, about IQ based on what and based on whom?
So
again, this is based on. Wait. Just let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Just let me finish real quick. like this whole IQ thing, we already know that's a bunch of BS. IQ has more to do with the specific type of cultural norms you're raised with in terms of white people. It has nothing to do whether somebody is more intelligent or not. They're the ones who crafted and created that. So that's a bunch of BS right there. Okay, and then also this idea that they are less violent. Are you kidding me? Do you know they got their own gangs, their own mafias? They over there, they do all kind of things to their people. Look at what China said. They didn't want any girl babies. They did all kind of things to their people. They do all kind of wicked things. They surveil their people. They have hella communism. It's so much going on. And I really don't understand how you can paint this rosy picture of all these other racial groups that comes from anti-blackness, right? Because we got to always be the bottom of the barrel. And then supposedly these other groups are superior in terms of IQ and in terms of less violence. That's ridiculous.
Renee, hold on for a second. Nobody mentioned black people at all. I mentioned 2 Asian ethnic groups. There are so many Asian ethnic groups. I mentioned 2. I don't want Cambodians living around me. I've been around Cambodians. I don't want Indonesians. I would prefer Chinese. I'm answering Forex Kid's question. If it were up to me, Chinese or Japanese, they come from the superior Asian groups. Just like in terms of Africa, I would prefer to be around Nigerians and Ghanaians over Liberians and South Africans. Liberians and South Africans are violent compared to Nigerians and other groups of people. They are. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. And let's be completely honest. And let's be honest. IQ does exist. Nigerians have a higher IQ than most Western Africans. And truth be told, I would even argue Nigerians have a higher IQ than most people on the planet. But that's just my own bias. But nevertheless,
why didn't you say you wanted them here first? You said the group of people that you would want are East Europeans.
Because he asked me, who would I prefer in terms of immigrants? A house of 10 South Americans or a house of 10 Asians? I would prefer the house of 10 Asians because I know with that house of Asians, they are going to buy up a shopping center eventually. They're not going to be a problem in the community in terms of violence. They're not. They typically come over here and they're not a problem with our judicial system. I work in the judicial system. They're not a problem. I don't want to tell you who the problems are, but they are not a problem.
But honestly, let's be clear. Things are not all in the same context, right?
If you guys are wondering what I'm drinking tea. Just green tea. Go ahead.
I need some tea too.
And then when you talked about Eastern European countries, are you kidding me?
Western European countries.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you would want
Western European countries should have a priority in terms of immigrating over here, over other groups of people. Yes.
Okay. But the reality of this whole thing is it's going to be crime. It's going to be issues with whoever it is. Like I said, people have this very sanitized view of Asians and of everybody else but black people. And that's why I mentioned black people, because you went directly to the group that you said you would most want to be here or should be allowed to come here. And you didn't say Nigerians, and you didn't say Ghanaians, and you didn't say West Africans. You went elsewhere with your comments and put those people on the pedestal. If it's so much about IQ, if it's so much about IQ and you said you think that Nigerians have higher IQs than anybody, then why didn't you say Nigerians first?
Ma'am. I am entitled, and I rock with you, Renee, but I'm entitled to my opinion and perspective. The fact of the matter is I've worked in law enforcement, I've worked in the courts, and I've taught. I am telling you from my perspectives and opinions. I have been around Asians. I've been around other groups of people. If it came down to a house across the street and it was immigrants, they could be working on naturalization. I would prefer that house to be Asian over South American or African or any other group of people. I would prefer that house to be Asian. And I'm talking about Chinese or Japanese because they come from cultures, ma'am, cultures that will shame their criminal class, that will shame gang culture, that will shame degeneracy. They just do. I'm not saying that these people are perfect because they're not, but these people do have higher IQs. Just look at their society.
That's not, first of all, there's all types of corruption in all of these countries.
So
There's all types of poverty, and where the people at the top take from the people at the bottom, and they do all kinds of things. And let's also be clear, you may not have, you and I and other people, even though you say you worked in law enforcement, that doesn't mean you have a clear picture or view what happens in these people's countries, in their own countries. You don't know what's really going on with that. That's just you speculating based upon these people are supposed to be better. And wait, let me just say this real quick. Let me just say this.
Wait on for a second, man. Wait a minute.
I'd like to add when you're done.
I'm entitled to my opinion, ma'am, just like you are. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm telling you who I would want to be around. I don't want to be around South American immigrants. I don't want to be around Eastern European immigrants if I had to. I'm answering the Forex kid's question. I would prefer to be around Chinese or Japanese if need be. Just if it were African, I do not want to be around South Africans. I would prefer to be around Nigerians or Ghanaians. I know that because I know the culture. And I know, listen, South Africa is a mess right now. I don't want to be around those people. Are there good South Africans? Sure. But generally, I don't want to be around them. And there's nothing wrong with me saying that. I'm tired of this generation where everybody's offended and listen, I'm entitled to say that. I'm entitled to say that.
Right.
Hey, if I could add.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
No, I was going to say, if I could add real quick, I see where you're coming from. And Renee, and I get where you're coming from too as ADOS. I think what Chaotic is just saying was, if we're looking in terms of immigration and the type of people that we want over here in this country are going to be productive, these are things we can kind of measure, right? We can look at, okay, how is this country's GDP? How are these countries? What kind of people are coming over here? What are they doing once they get over here? Are they becoming engineers or becoming doctors? Are they getting in school? Are they graduating? What kind of people are coming over here? This is something we can measure. And when you look at it holistically, there are certain subgroups of people, certain ethnic cultures that when they come over here, they are going to be productive. If you look at the median housing income, Chinese, Asians make up their number one. They have the highest income median over white people, right? That means they're coming over here and they're being productive, right? Mm-hmm. So for instance, me, I live in Houston. There's a lot of immigrants here. There's everybody, Indians, Nigerians, Chinese, whatever you can think of, right? And what I'm seeing largely being productive, I'm in school, I go to University of Houston. I see a lot of the same things Chaotic is saying. The productive students, the ones that are getting the PhDs, the ones that are applying themselves, the Asians, Indians. I'm in clubs and in classes with them. I'm just reality. Asians, Indians, Nigerians though too. A lot of Nigerians, a lot of Africans coming over, and they're productive. So when he says, I would rather see these people come than these people, I get him wholeheartedly. I would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Renee. Go ahead, Renee.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to say this real quick. I'm not saying anything against you having your opinion. You're absolutely entitled to your opinion, of course. I'm just addressing your opinion. I didn't say you couldn't have an opinion.
You can address it all.
Just like, yeah. So I never said anything about you can't have your opinion. No, I was just addressing what you said. But let me say this real quick too. The whole IQ thing, right? Like, to me, the barometer, I understand what the last brother who was just saying. I understand where you're coming from. However, but I think the barometer should more so be about, does this person have a criminal record? What are the other elements that are going on here before people are able to come here? But this inherent idea that if somebody has a low IQ, then that, that should prevent them from coming here. I disagree with that.
Ma'am.
And you said that, I'm gonna say this last thing and I'm a mute.
Okay, go ahead.
The brother that was just speaking, you said, well, yeah, they're, different groups coming here. They're being lawyers and doctors and all of those kinds of things, right? But in a society, you need more than just lawyers and doctors. You need people that scrub toilets. You need people that work in restaurants. You need people that pick up trash. You need people to do a variety of things in a society. So trying to find value only in an individual because they become a doctor or a lawyer, I think that's I don't agree with that at all.
Renee,
it takes all in a society.
If I could clarify really quick, I wasn't saying per se like those people don't have value if they were to come over. I was just looking at it holistically, like, okay, if we're looking at these ethnicities and we're going to decide who would we rather have, what group of people would we prefer to let in first, right? We'd have to take all these things in consideration. Yeah, we'd have to also look at criminal record. We have to look at background checks. That's like number one. But then we'd want to look at, okay, who can be the most productive, right? So I think that's what more I was coming from, as far as we'd have to look at this holistically and say, what group of people are going to come over here and be the most productive? And how can we look at that in terms of statistics of who's come over here and been more productive?
Can I say this real quick, Renee? There are indices that show stats, on a global scale, that show murder rates, rape rates, robbery rates. And then there are also indices that show intelligence quotient. If you compare the intelligence quotients by a country and then compare the murder rates, you will see that the countries with the highest rates of murder, blah, 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 are third world countries. And they are not Asian countries typically. The countries with the highest IQs, better standard of living, are the Asian countries. Now, I know it's hard for somebody to believe this, Renee, but there are people that are born more intelligent, just like there are people who are born more physically superior. LeBron James would rip me in half if he really wanted to. I'm under 6 feet. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like most men. Yeah, man, anything could happen in a fight. No, LeBron will mop the floor with me. There ain't no way in hell that DMT or the Forex kid could beat Shaq in a fight. I know everybody is saying, oh, well, a street fight, anything can happen. Let's just talk about just if it were just equal. You ain't beating Shaq. And he's
you seen that man's hand?
Sweep the leg.
The dude is, and he's a physical specimen. So it's not that hard to believe that some people are more intelligent. Some groups of people breed for intelligence. Eskimos don't breed for height. They don't. If it came down to a race, I'm choosing the Kenyan over the Mexican. We know Kenyans are better long distance runners. They are. They just evolved that way. All I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with admitting that certain groups of people have higher IQs. And I believe that Japanese and Chinese have higher IQs. Their countries are better than most countries in terms of crime and all that. And if they came over here in droves, this country will be a lot better. Now, people are going to say, oh, they have to tri-edge and come to Southern California, blah, 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 blah. How come, even with all those gangs and stuff, how come those prisons in California are predominantly filled with blacks, whites, and Hispanics? To this day, the Chinese can have all the gangs they want in Southern California, but how come those prisons are filled with mainly blacks and whites?
You have a valid point.
Shocking, right? Because these people, even if they're in groups, they don't operate the same way that blacks do, or whites do, or Hispanics do. They just don't. I'm not trying to put these people on a pedestal. I can care less. I'm just going by what I see in nature. If it came down to a dog fight, are you going to pick the Great Dane or are you going to pick the pit bull?
So first of all, there's nothing denoting that IQ is genetic. Also, what I will point out is that in terms of all the studies and research that has been done, and I've thoroughly investigated these points because these are the kinds of things I speak on a lot, but the biggest predictor, if you will, or prerequisite, if you will, of crime is poverty, not IQ. Okay, not IQ. You have people, for instance, who have extremely high IQs, right? And they think that they can go in and they can beat the casinos, trick the casinos or whatnot when they're gambling. They think they can pull off Ponzi schemes. They think they can do all sorts of things. And those are crimes. But these people have high IQs. So high IQ does not denote, that's not the you're trying to connect that to crime when crime is most connected to poverty.
Okay.
First, can I say this really quick because that first of all,
but that's not what we're talking
intelligence is definitely linked to genetics. Definitely. You can look at any research paper to tell you that. Any dog breeder, any animal breeder will tell you that you breed for traits. One of them is temperament. One of them is intelligence, the ability to please. That's just something that comes with living organisms. We can pass on traits. One of those traits would be intelligence, the ability to do critical thinking, problem solving, mathematics. If your father was good at that, your grandfather was good at that, more than likely, one of his grandchildren or you yourself is going to be good at that because it is genetic. That's why people used to practice good breeding back in the day, because you want to breed with someone that will enhance your traits, right? So it definitely is genetic.
Well,
that is untrue.
I'm not saying it's totally okay. Let me say this. I think genetics can play a part, but it's also mostly the environmental factors. The environmental factors have a lot to do with it. So you can have an individual who came from a low IQ parents or a low IQ parent, and they can be put into a certain environment that's more conducive to them having an IQ. So they will be able to overcome, if you will, the supposed genetic factors that will make them have a low IQ.
Guys, can I
agree
say something? I want to say something about this whole poverty. Like, if you're poor, that means you're going to be a criminal. Crime and poverty. Yes, you could say, okay, there's a lot of poor people in America that do crimes and so on and so forth. But that is a lack of morality and character. That's a character flaw and morality flaw. That's not because they're poor. If you go to any other countries, let's say in the Middle East, we have places where people are very poor, dirt poor, but they're not going out and being criminals because they're poor. If people say, oh, they're stealing because they need bread. No, they work. They work. Yeah, they don't have as much as everyone else, but they work. If you are stealing, you have a morality flaw, a character flaw. You're not because you're poor.
I disagree with that. I most definitely disagree with that.
I think
okay,
Renee,
before
I'll tell you why.
Renee, I think what you're speaking of is that you don't want for just the IQ part to be looked at. You want the whole spectrum of the person to be looked at. That's what I really think that's you're coming down to. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, that's what it takes. It's more than that, because you start doing the IQ thing. I mean, that's essentially eugenics. That's essentially going down that road.
What's wrong
And
with
that
eugenics?
people who have lower IQs are less worthy of life, or less worthy of good things in life. They're less worthy of those things because their IQ is low, and that's ridiculous.
And what's wrong with eugenics?
What's right with it?
Everything. If you look at
how so?
Well, okay, again, the Japanese, they practice it naturally. They know not to breed certain. They know not to just breed for no reason. And we know a lot of groups of people who do breed for no reason. And look at their culture, look at their neighborhoods, look at their overall way of living compared to the Japanese. The Japanese aren't out here just breeding random. The Jews aren't either. These people practice it naturally. They vet. They don't just have children with random people. That's not by, a lot of times that's not by accident. A lot of times that's just a thought, like, I'm about to breed with her. Her family comes from this. They could just look at the intelligence level. They practice it naturally and look at their culture. That's all you got to do.
That's why they do arrangements.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you can have people. You can have people, right, who have large families, and there's love there, and the children are taken care of, and it's a strong family unit, and all of these sorts of things. This idea, they know what they're breeding for, this purpose and that like, what does that even really mean? And I mean, I don't even see how somebody can make some argument about eugenics. But real quick, before it gets away, I did want to address what Amir was saying about morality and this, that, and the other in terms of crime. With a lot of study and documentation, it shows that crime is not this moral issue, this moral failing, right? And I'm going to show you what I mean, because morality is subjective as well. Let me show you what I mean. If, let's say, somebody is poor, struggling, right? Let's say they have 2 children. They got down on their luck. They got laid off, right? They didn't have other family to help them and support them. They try to get help in the system, but it's going to take a long time for them to help, right? Or let's say they get some from the system, but that's gone in an instant because they give them very little, right? And so this person's trying to find work or whatever the situation is, but they're not working yet, right? And they don't have any money. And their 2 children are right there hungry. Now, if they go into a store and go into a grocery store, right, and they go and they steal something, let's say they ask somebody for money or food and people wouldn't do it, whatever the case may be, and they go in the store and they steal some food to take care of their children. Now, what's the situation there? Because stealing is a crime, is it not? People would say that's immoral to steal. They stole from a grocery store, but at the same time, this person is in a situation with their back against the wall. So they may have made choices that in other situations they wouldn't have made. So morality is subjective. That can be subjective. Not all certain things, right? But some things is subjective depending upon the situation you're in.
Going by your logic,
otherwise wouldn't make.
Going by your logic, that means that somebody can break into your home right now and just set up shop and live there and say, well, you know what? I grew up in a rough environment. I grew up hard. I don't have anywhere to stay. I'm going to declare that your home is my home now. Are you going to be moral enough to say, yeah, you can stay in my house?
No, and those are not the same things. Those are not the same. You're making total false equivalences. If somebody's going to just come in, somebody's just going to bust into somebody's home that's already living there. Now, there are people who are squatters, right, who do that. But you giving the analogy that they just come in my house while I'm here and just say, oh, well, yep, I'm setting up shop. And let's also be clear. I said that if the person goes and steals from the store, that is a crime. So I'm not saying it's not a crime. I said morality can be subjective depending on what the person the situation's in, because a desperate person can be a dangerous person. So if you are, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to respond to you because that's a cute story that is told often, and people go to those destitute situations where it's like, well, what if no one has eaten, and that's cute. But majority of the time when people are committing crimes, this is not the situation. Let's just be honest with ourselves. The majority of crimes are committed by people who have the opportunity to work, who have the opportunities available to them all around them, who have welfare available, who have food pantries, and so many other places where you can go get food, because as humans, we naturally are giving to one another. So you have all these options, but yet you still choose to, as an option, sell drugs. You still choose to kill people, be a gang member, do this or do that, when you're not in a destitute situation. So I love when people try to have these cute stories of like, oh, it's a family and a struggling family and everyone's wearing rags and they're just on the street. That's not the majority of situations.
Especially.
Well, I use that cute story to better illustrate my point. That's why I use that cute story. Renee, and as of right now, you can see all across this country where homelessness is off the chain. This idea that there's all these options, there's not all these options. Some of these places that have food pantries, those things dry up quick because people that are working and that have a home, they're still at the poverty level and they need those resources as well.
There's a worker shortage in this country, is it not?
There's a worker shortage.
Yes, there is a worker shortage in this country.
Okay, so the people who are supposedly begging on the street, why can't they just go to Amazon and just get a job?
That still doesn't mean that all those people will be eligible to work. And let's also be clear.
Why would they be eligible?
And I'm not saying, wait a minute, and I'm not saying that some of those people.
Does that mean we're going to get back to the beginning of the conversation?
Why wouldn't they be eligible?
And I'm not saying, and let me be clear, I'm not saying that all people that are homeless and stuff, that they're just so, they're the victims, they're this. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is there are different circumstances that lead people to the same outcome. So there are people who are homeless who did have a lot of different situations that happened to them, and they end up in a situation. Then there's other people that was on drugs. It's other people who was locked up. It's other issues as well. But to
whose fault is that?
all that
Whose
together,
fault is
I don't
that,
agree
man?
with it.
Just let
Renee,
me
whose
add
fault
really
is that?
because I get where you're coming from on the homeless thing. I've been homeless before. I was 22. I had nowhere to go. I was sleeping in my car for 2 weeks. I've done the homeless thing. I get it. What I'm saying is we have to remember that just because somebody is homeless, they can't eat, right? You brought up they haven't eaten anything, so they go steal. That has nothing to do with the morality being subjective. That's them being in desperation mode. So they push aside their morals to fulfill their fleshly need. Because there are people that fast for 30 days, right? Haven't eaten in 30 days. And they do that because that's their moral, whether it's their religion, they're following their morals, and they're not going to push aside their morals just so they can fulfill a fleshly need. And that's what you're saying these homeless people are doing. And we should deem them righteous for that, or we should understand that they're in a mode of desperation. So they're going to push aside their morals and steal from someone, or hold up a gun and rob somebody, right? Or do any other thing that would harm another person just so they can get ahead. And when you mention that, it made me think of, because you said like someone just kind of stowing away in your house. Chaotic asked you if you would let somebody stow away at your house. Because I think about it all the time. It's happening in Texas. People in Texas living near these borders are going in their backyards. They got sheds, they got garages, and they open it up and they thinking they're hearing raccoons or coyotes in their garage rustling around. But they get there, it's a whole family of illegals that's been there squatting. And now you're going to tell him that, oh, you should understand these people have nowhere to go. They're in desperation. And yeah, it's wrong that they trespassed on your property, but their morality is subjective, and they just did it because they're in desperation, right? And I don't think we can think like that. That just doesn't make sense.
Thank you, DMT. Can I say something real quick? Renee, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Renee. Okay.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I, in the past, never really committed to a lot of black chicks that I was involved with is because they had family members who were in gangs, in prison, etc. I'm going to apply this to the immigrants, right? One of the reasons why I don't, if trying to answer the Forex kid, if I had to choose, I would not want to have Mexicans or Venezuelans or other groups of people, is because they are 2 or 3 family members away from being associated with gangs, maybe cartel, etc. Whereas the Japanese family of those 10, they're not associated with anything. So I know there's a level of violence that is not going to be in that community. Now, could that South American family be, just an entirely civilian family? Of course. But some cultures come with problems just based off their culture. Like, for example, if it came down to West Africans, right? I would not want a family of Liberians next to me. I'm going to tell you why. They literally had a civil war just 20 years ago. These people are scarred. They're scarred. Now, are all Liberians scarred mentally? I don't think so. But they have but I went to school with Liberians, and they literally lived there when Charles Taylor was president. And they lived there when Monrovia and all and was total chaos. Were they peaceful? Yeah, they were peaceful. But there's that level of violence that can come about, if that makes any sense. So it's still there, you know. So I would prefer across the street the family from Ghana. Ghana's more peaceful. They haven't had a war, and I don't know. I don't think they ever even had a war internally. They had a great president. They've had several great presidents. Jerry Rawlings being one of them. He died last year. You really, in this period of time, in my opinion, you have to be sort of xenophobic and you have to be sort of racist, and not in a bad way, like going around, oh, F you this, that. No. It's just that
not in an evil way.
It's not an evil way, but it's just that you don't, like, for example, I wouldn't want Afghanis across the street from me. Now, not to say that all Afghanis are bad, because they're not, but there's an element in their culture that is different from, like, Amir, Lebanese, right? It's a difference. Like, I know that there's a level of peace and tranquility that Lebanese people have that other Arabs don't. No. Same thing with Asians. I went to school with a girl who fled Cambodia, or her mom did, and this was back in like the 80s or late 80s or 90s when I met her, because there was a genocide in Cambodia. So these people are scarred, and so when you bring these people into a country, you're bringing in their problems, you're bringing in that history. You know, now, Renee, does that make any sense, or am I being racist? Go ahead.
Yeah, like
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I just feel like, again,
after all,
trying to lump all people in categories, based upon, well, this people's culture, this and that. If individuals are coming here, it should be up to what that individual has done and is doing. All the other stuff to me is out the window, because that's just, like I said, to me, that's just eugenics. Any other way is just eugenics. Nobody, if somebody judged you on your merits based upon the crime or whatever of the Black community, that wouldn't be a right thing to do. Why do you have to be judged by that standard? Okay, right? Shouldn't you be judged by your merit? Shouldn't you be judged by what your merits are, what your criminal record is, what you're going to bring to the table? Yes, you should be judged by that. 100%.
Are you asking me, or what are you doing here? You're asking me.
I mean, it's rhetorical, but you can answer.
If I were a white woman alone in an elevator and I walked in there, I would want to get off, or I would clutch my purse, because it's not that, again, I'm not a bad person. It's just that generally darker Black men, not all, but a lot of darker Black men commit a lot of crimes, and it's the truth. And to
protect, I have a question for you.
No. Stop it. Stop it. It's the truth.
It's
not
the
all
truth.
Not all Black men are violent. What I'm saying is that generally, if something were to happen, it's always a darker skinned Black man. Not always, but generally. So I could understand a white woman clutching her purse more tightly if I got on the elevator. I could be peaceful, but I would still take that precaution, and I wouldn't get upset if I knew that the white chick did that. I wouldn't.
So let me ask you this then. So then why would you advocate for people to come here that are racist? Chinese people are known to be quite racist to Black people. So why would you? Why would you advocate for those people if we're going to just make glaring judgments?
Chinese are racist or not?
Wow,
the Chinese are productive. That's the difference. They're not lazy and shiftless like a lot of
productive for who? They're not going to do anything for you. Productive for whom? As if Chinese people getting money and coming, like how they've come in and taken over a lot of things in Africa, how they come into Black communities and they get money but don't put any investment back in Black communities at all.
Whose fault is that?
Right. We don't do it.
Ma'am.
But it's also the mindset. No, but it's also the mindset you have. Wait a minute. Let me just show you the.
No. I got to mute you real quick. Ma'am, whose fault is that if the African American has had these communities for over 100 years and I almost said something I want to say, and some Asians come over here and within 1 or 2 years, their entire family buy up a shopping plaza that was in the very same neighborhood that the blacks had. Whose fault is that? What you mean to tell me this entire neighborhood of blacks? I know blacks who have families, and it's 100 of them in one family. You mean to tell me they can't come together and buy this shopping plaza? Ma'am, that's not the problem of the Asians. And I would be very, ma'am, yes. I would,
yes.
Yes.
I want to address what you said. No. I want to point something out about what you said. But the excuses or whatever you're making about the situation, saying you don't care about if Chinese people are racist, they're productive. See, that's the problem right there. That's why a lot of black people allow those people to be in the community, because they say things like that. Who cares if they're racist, right? As long as they're productive, they're not productive for black people, but who cares if they're racist? Who cares if they're here? That's a circular, that's a boomerang. That's a boomerang.
Ma'am, you're getting too emotional. You're getting too emotional. And you're accusing me of things that I don't do. First of all, ma'am, I try my best to support black businesses. I try my best, and particularly support black restaurants. It's the people like you that will go to the Chinese restaurant and give them your money. I don't give them, I try my best not to go to their restaurants. So ma'am, if these people are smart enough to come together as a family and build something, then what's the problem with that? You blacks have had the communities for over 100 years. Some neighborhoods in cities, blacks have had the neighborhoods for literally 100 years, 100 years. Why would
no, that's not true. Your statements are not true. And let me be clear, I'm not getting upset or whatever. When I speak, I just speak passionately. So it's no issue. I just
why does that bother you? If people are saying that they would prefer to have a certain type of immigrant come over here, why does that bother you?
But that's what I'm trying to point out though about what you said, right?
Okay.
When you sat here and you said you don't care if they're racist, you don't care if they're productive. But their productiveness is not beneficial for black people here.
So what?
What they're doing in the black community is not conducive for black people. And so them being, wait. So them being racist is impactful. Them being racist means something, and it should be black people speaking against it. So you saying it's people like me that it's actually people like you. It's people who think like you, who then advocate for these racist groups to come into America and capitalize off of black people. You're the one that don't care if they're racist, and you're the one who doesn't care what they do as long as they're productive for themselves and their own race and their own country.
Renee. I got a question whenever you...
Okay, give me a second, DMT. Renee, listen to me. Renee. See, the difference between men and women, and a lot of men, I don't need people to like me. I don't need people to coddle me. I don't care if a white man is racist. I don't care if an Asian is racist or an Arab is racist. I don't care if another black man doesn't like me. I have self-esteem. And that is the difference between men and women a lot of the times. And I'm not trying to disrespect women here, but what I am saying is that you are mad about Asians being racist. I don't care if they're racist. They should be racist. They should absolutely be racist, just like you should be racist. You should be racist because you should love your race over every other body race. And the fact is that you are blaming them for the fact that they figured out how to buy a shopping plaza in your neighborhood. Why are you call them racist? So what?
I just gotta ask.
You need to be just as racist, and I stand by this real quick, DMT. Racist or not, I would prefer to be next door neighbors with the Chinese or the Japanese over the South American any day.
Hey, CT.
Go ahead, DMT.
Would you like to have a few neighbors of your own skin color?
If they are
DTM, Auntie J.
Where are they from?
I think KI would live near me. If we
black.
No, I'm saying where are they from? What kind of blacks?
Auntie J, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from DC.
Yeah, obviously. But if we're talking about immigrants, we're talking about immigrants.
No, correct. But would you like to have some black people?
Yes, of course. But if it came down to immigrants, if I had a choice, I would prefer the Asian immigrant. I'm not saying, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Renee. I'm
I
sorry.
had a question for Renee real quick though.
I want to.
Renee, I just want to ask you if do you, because you're ADOS, right? I'm ADOS, you ADOS. So do you agree with illegal immigration? Because that's what the whole conversation was. I want to make sure I got your stance on that first.
No.
So you don't agree with illegal immigration?
No.
Okay, so I think we on. I think a lot of what we're saying is on the same page. We're just misconstruing things. We're playing semantics, right? Because we're talking about illegal immigration. Do we agree? Do we not? I know Chaotic got to talk about if he had to select immigrants coming from certain countries, he has a hierarchy of how he would, have them come over. He wants Asian. He prefer Asians to come over first, right? That's his preference. I understand that. I think we just got to stay on topic because illegal immigration harms us as ADOS, FBA, however one people do it, descendants of freedmen. That harms us because now that population is growing. Soon we'll be in last place when it comes to population, and our vote will matter even less than it does now. So I think it's important that we're all on the same page on that. We don't want illegal immigration because the end all be all is going to affect us negatively regardless. So I think we're all on the same page on that. I know we went kind of certain.
Yeah, I just want to say a couple of things because I'm about to
Renee, hold on for a second. I want you to stay here for one quick minute because I'm gonna ask Amir a tough question real quick, and it's for you. Amir, please unmute. I want to ask you a tough question, Amir. Amir, who would you prefer to be across the street from you in terms of an immigrant? If this was the year 2001, would you prefer 10 Iraqis across the street from you or 10 Lebanese people? Which ones would you prefer, Amir? You being an Arab. Just be honest. If this was the year 2001, 2002, 10 Iraqis or 10 Lebanese or 10 Yemenis, which ones would you prefer? Which family?
I want to not comment on that.
Amir,
I don't want to
Amir.
Stop deflecting, Amir. Keep it real.
Amir, nobody's watching us. How many? Amir, which family would you choose, Amir?
Well, I mean, I would say Lebanese, honestly.
Because... So why would you choose the Lebanese over the Iraqis if this was 2001, the year 2002?
Because Iraqis tend to be a little bit more warlordy people, a little bit more rowdy, a little bit more
war-minded.
Now, Renee, what say you about that, Renee? Here goes an Arab woman, Amir. She said that I would prefer to be around the Lebanese over the Iraqis. Well, not all Iraqis are the same, Amir, but Renee, what say you about what Amir said?
Then that's her opinion, just like you had yours. But like I said, to me, it has more to do with the individuals. Or do the individuals have criminal records? Are they decent people? Not about if it's this country or that country. That will be more of my concern. But I would just want to say these couple of things, and then I'm for real. I'm off, and I appreciate y'all.
Go ahead.
But I just want to say too, real quick, chaotic truth, that you're the one. First of all, this has nothing to do with men and women do this more, men do that. I don't play all the gender politic games.
It does have something to do with men and women,
but that's just a talking point.
You want?
I feel like a lot of times to deflect from
Renee,
things.
Renee, you want whites to like you. That's why.
Okay. Let me address then what you're saying. Listen, I don't support any. Wait, can I get it out, please?
Go ahead.
I don't support any other race of people. I am pro-Black to my core. I don't want no white people to like me. I don't want no Asians to like me. I was bringing up a matter of fact point about them in the community. Let's be very clear here.
How did they get into the community?
Chaotic. Can I just finish?
Wait a minute. How did they get into the community? Because you can.
Why do you care if they're racist?
And you being Black, you can open up a shop in their community. Why do you?
Can you just let me?
Let Renee finish, guys. Let her finish.
Thank you, please. I just want to point out that I am not the ones advocating for other races to come here. You are. You are the one who said you would select Asian people. You even later said Nigerians have higher IQ. Can I finish, please? Let me finish.
It was a question that I asked them.
Can you let me finish, please? Can you let me finish? Thank you. I just want to be clear on this because it seems like there's some confusion here. I didn't advocate for anybody to come here. You advocated for Asians, for Western Europeans to come here, and you even said that you feel like Nigerians have a
higher
IQ than probably anybody, but you didn't advocate for them. You advocated for Asians and for Western Europeans. So the people in the chat and the other people who are trying to say you want to be like, no, the hell I don't. I didn't advocate for any other racial group to come here. And to the brother that was just talking and you were saying something about me, do I support illegal immigrants? Absolutely no, I do not. My point in coming up here was to say the immigrants aren't the problem. It's the companies and corporations that are providing them with money under the table so that they are able to come here and to live and pool resources. That's what I'm saying. So no, I don't support any other race but black people I don't give a damn what race likes me. And I'm for damn sure ain't advocating for no Asians and Western Europeans, Eastern Europe. I don't give a damn. I'm not advocating for none of them to come here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renee. Auntie J, what's up?
What is going on?
You're on mute, Auntie J.
I call cap on that.
You're on
How
mute.
you doing, chaotic?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm great. Hello, everybody on the panel.
It's a beautiful day to ride.
That was a doozy right there.
Hello, Auntie J.
She took over the whole program, man.
That wasn't even what we were talking about.
Right. I'm like, illegal people coming here.
A specific question about.
It was just a question that I asked.
He wasn't advocating. Yeah.
The topic I saw that brought me up was, how do you feel? What is it, chaotic? About illegal?
Yeah, about illegals, yes.
I feel pissed the fuck off. Oh, excuse me. I feel very upset at times because I want to know, just generalize, why do they always pick this country? Why are we always available for everybody? I live in a city where it used to be called a chocolate city. Now I don't know where I'm at sometimes. I be like, where, what? In my own city. But I realize that America is sneaky and creepy. They underhanded and they scandalous with the things they do. And believe me, I believe that it's a reason that they let those immigrants come over here from war-torn Afghanistan and put them in some parts of Virginia and some other part, I can't remember. But they're here. And there's more to come because we have a president that's everybody. He doesn't protect his home. That's why one thing I can say about Trump, he protected the home. He ain't let everybody in here.
Exactly.
And people talk about Trump and this, that, and the third, and I'm so tired of the stereotype with just because we black, we feel entitled to some shit. No, whatever you want, you have to work hard and go out there and get it. Regardless of, what's that in political, what's that over there and that. And Trump, black people, you can't say Trump's name. I will say his name but our vote doesn't count here, so it doesn't matter. Our editorial vote, because we're a capital city. But if it did, I would vote for his ass. Excuse my language. I would really vote for him. Because right now, our country seems to be in demise. We don't know which way to go, which way to turn. It seems like we have no leadership, to me. And the leadership that we have, he's so weak. So I don't know what's going to be next. I believe all of this COVID shit stuff, all of this was a part of some kind of way with them immigrants. They slick, baby. They slick. They do in the military too. They slick. They all work together. I'm telling you. They slick with what they do. We may not know the reason, but believe me, they have a specific reason that they allow that. And I know that from working in the government for 23 years. I know that. So
So
they're
no, I was just gonna say, CT, I gotta go, but I
thank you
was
so
just
much
gonna
for it,
say
kid.
this last thing. I always feel like there's a saying that I always go by: when the head ain't straight, the rest of the body ain't right. So I feel like if the head, which is the president, the political people, the Republicans, Democrats, the House, the Senate, if these people ain't straight in the head, how is the rest of the country gonna be straight?
Exactly.
That's just what I always think. You know what I mean?
That's
I understand that we have to pick one political party, but I just feel at this point they all fucked up. And I'm sorry.
what I just said.
Yeah.
They all messed up. The one when the leader is off, everything is off. Everything is off. That's real talk. When you don't have a person that's leading correctly, that's why every man can't be a leader. Even though we know that men are leaders by nature, every man can't be a great leader. You know what I'm saying? Some men don't want to be leaders. They want to let the woman lead them, you know? And if that's what you want.
2024, I gotta go, guys. You guys have a good one.
All right, you have a great rest of your day.
Take it easy, Troy.
Thank you for having me in the panel.
Yep. Thank you so much for it, kid. 651. I'm sorry, Dub Will. What's up, man? You were up next. Auntie J, you were done or you good?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
No, you can stay on the panel. Dub Will, what's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, Dub Will, can I ask you a question, sir?
Sure, go ahead.
Are you an illegal immigrant?
No, I'm not.
Go ahead. You got the floor.
I'm what's considered ADOS, FBA, whatever that is. My parents have been, my family has been here for 400 or 500 years, so I'm more American than anybody. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, to address the topic, how do I feel about illegal immigration?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have a little bit different take than some people. I'm not against all crime. Sometimes some crimes you got to do what you got to do in order to survive. So I don't look at illegal immigrants any different than I do, let's say, a drug dealer. As long as you're not committing violence, I don't have a problem with you in principle. But do the crime with open eyes, understand the risk, and understand the consequences. And if the consequences come, deal with it. So that's what I mean. So I feel the same way. Like someone has been dealing dope and they get caught, do your time. Same way if a illegal immigrant cross the border or a family cross the border, if you get caught and you get deported, or you've overstayed your visa and now it's time for you to go back home, go back home. That's my only issue with illegal immigration. Now let me say about the lady that was up here and talking about how
Renee. Yeah. What about
Renee? And she was saying that I'm paraphrasing that. You know, what if immigrants come over here and they're racist and they don't support black people and all that bullshit? Listen, let me say something. Black people are the biggest hypocrites when it comes to this stuff about supporting black people and black business and all this bullshit, because black people will go to every Indian gas station, every Arab gas station. They will go to every Mexican run Mexican restaurant. They will go to every Chinese restaurant. They got Mexicans cooking in the back and a Chinese person running it. But if a black person open up a business across the street from their house, they won't go, won't support, or they'll be looking for a discount or a hookup, or can I get this on the low?
I can make this at home. You know, dumb shit.
Hey, I can make this at home. Or, well, why would you charge me full price? It's the biggest crock of shit, and it pisses me off.
Listen, that's right, good.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. But like,
I can make a sandwich at home.
Yeah. Exactly. But they'll go to the Chinese restaurant and get them little bitty chicken wings that they'll charge you $9 for them, and some dry ass lo mein, and they'll buy that shit by the truckload. They'll go to the Korean and buy the hair and the hair products and all that shit and spend thousands of dollars a month on that, but won't support a black business. So miss me with that bullshit about the what you call being racist. For like there's been examples of Asian hair shop owners that will beat up black women and go in there and act a fool, and people will lose their mind. Oh, it's racist. But all they gotta do is do a 2-for-1 sale, and niggas are wrapped around the corner. Come on, like let's stop it with the bullshit.
Make it make sense. That's right.
And I'll tell you something else, Dub. Will now, Amir, no offense, but I've been into Arab corner stores. You won't see an Amir walking around there, but they're there. But let your black sister, girlfriend, somebody walk in there, Arab, say, "Hey, baby, what's up?" Blah 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 blah. It just shows you the difference in culture. You see what I'm saying?
If that woman isn't there, they in the back.
In the back, you can't talk to her at all.
That's right.
Yeah. Amir is laughing because she knows
what I'm saying. Word.
Yep.
Because in the other countries, women don't freely speak. Men speak.
No.
What are you talking for?
Why are you talking for me?
They looking at you crazy, trying to figure out why you let your woman speak. They like, wait a minute.
But I see where Renee.
If Amir's husband owned a corner store and she was in there, she would keep her head down, and she knows that. She wouldn't make eye contact with a man. Tell the truth.
We own a restaurant. We own a restaurant. You don't see me there. I can't go.
That's my point. And if you were in there, you would be eye contact, googly eying no man.
Yeah.
No.
Put a 1 in the chat if you like hummus. Put a 1 in the chat if you like hummus. Go ahead, guys. I'm just saying. No, I like hummus. No, I like Arab food. I like chicken shawarmas, and all that. Yeah, I think Arab food is good.
I like the lamb. That's it. I don't like hummus.
Yep. 651. What's up, man? What say you about illegal immigration? Sir, is that a bulletproof vest that you have on?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Just throw me some rope here, sir. Why are you wearing a bullet?
I'm working.
Oh, okay. I not even gonna ask. Where you work security?
I'm not telling you where I work, but I'm working.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about illegal immigration, sir? Go ahead.
All right. The only problem I have with illegal immigration is the unfairness between certain countries. It's easier for certain countries to get in than other countries, and then some countries get a free pass. So my only issue is the unfairness. It's not the same across the board for certain countries, and that's my issue I have. It needs to be one standard for everyone. So that's the only issue I have. As far as that, do they take away resources? I don't have an opinion on that. I just disagree with as far as not fair with certain countries that have a hard time coming over here, and other countries get to come over here for free because of what's going on in their country. I remember the Cubans can come over for free. The Venezuelans was able to come over here when they was going through what they was going through in their country. And then you got a country like Haiti, when them people try to come over here because of what's going on in their country, a lot of them get turned away. And I just think it needs to be a fair treatment for anyone that's not a citizen. Doesn't matter what's going on in their country, doesn't matter what they raised or where they from, and that's the problem I have. And I'm done.
America's not even fair to us. So really you think they're gonna be fair to other countries coming in? Yes, but they're not fair to us.
You're right, because I travel a lot. And it is hard to get a citizenship in in other countries.
Yep.
Like certain other countries don't even play that bullshit. You just coming over here and just gonna walk over here and think you're just gonna work on the table. And some countries don't even play that. They will deport your ass in a heartbeat. Because I seen it get done. I don't see when I was in, I think by 7 years ago, I was in the DR and it was some Haitians over there, and I seen the Dominican Republic police come out of nowhere, kick over this Haitian lady like food stand or whatever she was trying to sell, and they arrested them and took their ass to jail. I'm like, what the fuck going on here?
Yep.
And that's the last time. And that's the last time I went to DR because I'm like, yo, this not right. But then when I started going to other countries, I realized a lot of other countries do the same as that thing. I think the United States is a little more lenient on it unless you do like a serial crime or you from another country that they don't want you here and they'll deport your ass fast. So
Mm.
that's my take on it. And I like when it comes to resources, I think a lot of people come over here, they just take advantage because they don't, coming from where they come from. And if you ever been to other country, like I visit Haiti, I visit real Haiti. I was in Port-au-Prince. So when them people come, when a lot of Haitians come over here, they see like they take advantage of it. Like they see it and they take advantage of it. And I'm like, okay, I understand. So a lot of these people that come over here, they see the opportunity, like, oh, and they take advantage of it. With the black people we already here, and we have the resources, but I think it's more mental that we think we don't have the resources. And like I said before last night, um, everyone opportunity is not going to be the same, and it's going to be tough for a lot of people opportunity than others. Uh, life isn't fair. Life isn't fair. So whatever hand you dealt, and I get it. Some people are just in a fucked up situation that is very difficult to get out of. But one thing I can say about it in the
Well,
United
one
States.
second, Mr. D, 651. One moment. Why did everybody turn off their camera? That is a no-no. Why did everybody go at the same time? We have only black squares on here. What happened?
Oh, I thought we supposed to cut them off because I saw everybody else had theirs on. So I cut mine off. I didn't
No,
want to be an oddball, really. No, whoever
no,
had his on, so
Camera off. What you talking about?
I don't
guys,
see.
please
I'm in my
don't do
work
that.
truck,
Okay,
so I
sorry,
can't come up right now.
651. Okay, go ahead, Mr. 651. I'm sorry.
What I was saying was with the Black Americans, a lot of us, we say we don't have the opportunity or we lack opportunity, but I think that's more mental. And a lot of us are or was brought up in a fucked up situation or a bad situation that it is harder for us to get out than our counterpart, the white folks. And I think a lot of us don't see the opportunity we have, but I think it's more mental. So that's why when black people say, when the immigrants come over here, they they suck up resources. I think they come over here and they come from nothing and they see the resources and they're gonna work their ass off to get it. I mean, you will have a family that come over here from the islands and they'll be like 20 deep in one household and everybody's gonna work and everybody's gonna get their opportunity. Everybody's gonna try to make things better where we already here, a lot of African Americans, we already here and we don't see the resources. But that's why I tell people it's important to travel. I tell black people
Right.
it's important to travel. When you travel, you can actually see the resources that we do have. I've been to 20 different countries and I'm like, yo, whew, and I get it. And I understand why the immigrants come over here and they take advantage. So I used to be like one of them Negroes, like, yo, they sucking up the resources, they sucking up the resources. But once I started traveling and I see, I'm like, I get it and I understand. So
Chaotic.
that's what my standpoint is. It needs to be a
Yo.
fair treatment towards all immigration. Like that incident in Texas,
Chaotic.
how they had all them Haitian immigrants and they turned a lot of them people away. I don't think letting them all in, but that should have been handled a little better than what it was. And that's my take on it. I'm gonna let
Thank
everybody else talk.
Amir, thank you so much. 651. Amir, you were gonna say something? Go ahead.
I was gonna thank everyone for having me on because I do have to get going. My family is calling me. But I wanna ask if I'm gonna be with you later on your show.
Yeah. If
Okay.
you, yeah. I'll send you the link or whatnot, and I'll email you the link, and I'll tell you, instruct you on everything.
Okay, and then also I wanted to say thank you to Bob for being a member for 4 months. He says Dub Will is on point. And also thank you for Tony B for being a member for 9 months. He says, I see Bob's membership and raise him 3 months. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys.
What up,
Bob?
Guys, I think I am also going to end as well because I want to prepare for tonight on my show on the Chaotic Truth Live. DMT, I'm going to speak to you in a language that nobody's going to understand, but are you familiar with Terrence McKenna?
The name sounds familiar. Sounds very familiar. I got it. The neurons got to click for me for what he did.
Okay. Speaking of DMT, are you a researcher of DMT?
Yeah, I'm familiar with DMT. Okay. But just so you know, DMT don't stand for that sort of DMT. It stands for my company dominate my territory.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I did think that kind of spin on it would kind of give people that,
it's very, that spin does get my attention.
Yeah, that was
yeah. Okay. DMT, you said you are in college. What year are you in?
I'm a junior. I'm in artificial intelligence, but I double major in psychology and computer science.
Oh, okay.
I already have a degree in artificial intelligence, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being up here, sir.
Man, no problem, Chaotic. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're an incredible panelist. F. Rod says CT doesn't know facts, just emotions. Hey, whatever you think, F. Rod. I ain't, you
can you hear me?
Yeah, you could be right. What's up, Dub Will? Oh, I don't know what happened with Dub Will, man. But hey, guys, you guys have been awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank everybody for hitting that super chat that did. Please, if you have not subbed to the channel, tell your family, friends to sub. Please share the video, hit that like button. Guys, I am out of here. Thank you so much. Peace.